So recently I was hanging out with my main man, Andy Wood.
I know that guy.
Who's some of our listeners will remember from the Predator episode.
Predator.
And we were talking a little bit about horror movies.
Yeah.
One of the things that he said is part of the reason why he doesn't like watching horror movies in general is it's not necessarily like just specifically like the violence and the gore. Mm-hmm. It's people having stuff inflicted on them that they didn't consent to.
I see. Okay.
Right? So he's like, for example, when that chick gets hung up on that hook in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, she didn't want that. And I'm like, okay, I understand. Consent is key,
Okay.
But that also got me to kind of thinking a little bit about like maybe the ultimate horror defense. Like if you find yourself in a situation where you're like, oh shit, I'm in a horror movie, right?
I do not consent to this.
No, I'm thinking the total opposite. If you're that chick and Leatherface has you picked up and you're like, oh my God, you go, why don't you put me on that hook?
Big boy.
Yeah, exactly. And he'd be like,
well, that works in Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. So yeah, it would have worked.
There we go, man.
Yeah, because that's what she does, is basically seduces him.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you realize you're in a Freddy dream and you're like, scratch my back, big fella. Well, how about it? He'd be like, what, bitch? What, bitch?
I'll scratch your back.
Welcome, Dead and Lovely listeners, to a brand new installment of Dead and Lovely, the horror movie podcast that is known as the greatest in the multiverse.
That is true.
And beyond. Here with the host with the most. Why, it is I, Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve. You see how I use the subjective form, right?
That's right.
You're I,
right. Yeah.
I want to speak correctly.
Checkmate. Steve, let's knock some business out of the way because you're holding yourself a beer can, and I want to find out what's inside of this and from whence it came.
It's a nitro cob stopper, peach cobbler ale.
The old cob stopper, huh? Stops a cob dead in his tracks. This is brewed
by Rheingeist Brewery. RDM came through town.
The notorious RDM.
On Friday.
On his birthday.
He brought us these, and he told me the key to a nitro beer is you give it a little light shake, and you open it up and turn it directly into the glass.
A hard pour, it's known as.
Right, straight down, and we tested it.
Totally works.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, I had no idea about that because it just seems like that is just a recipe for a sticky, awful mess and wasted beer. But I mean,
that's the reason why it's already open is because we didn't want to be sitting here recording a podcast and then have a beer just explode.
Please hold while I clean up the entire studio.
But yeah, fucking nailed it, and now we're gonna try a peach cobbler ale.
About that. I've never had a peachy cobbler ale. I've had that son of a peach. Have you had that?
Yes, yeah.
I've had that shit is awesome, man. That's a summertime sip for sure.
It smells very peachy.
Yeah? Peachy keen. I'm excited to try this thing out. I am bummed out I didn't get to hang out with Mean Dean himself. How's that beer taste? Is it good?
Yes.
It's working for you?
It's got, there's the pie. There's like that cobbler element.
It starts to cob you a little bit later,
first it's just like a little shock, like maybe a slightly sour peach, but then like it washes over your tongue and it's like there's all that sort of flavor there.
You can really taste the cob in it.
You can taste the cob.
That's good because that's not overly sweet. I was kind of concerned, especially even like the color palette of the can is like yellow and orange and pink, and I'm like thinking this would be a really sweet beer, And
it's low alcohol. It's 4.4. Okay. So, 12 IBUs. It's really just a tasty sipping beer.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thanks so much to good old Mean Dean.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be trying some more of his beers. He brought us like 5 different things. So
fuck yeah, I can't wait to get into those. This is good though. This is pretty tasty. I'm gonna have to have a couple more sips of this thing to find out what it's about. How's old Roger doing? Is he doing good?
Yeah,
he's a good boy.
He is a good boy.
Did you give him some birthday spankings?
I should have.
Yeah.
Me and Emily and I and Salem all met him at Crafty, but Crafty wasn't open.
Son of a bitch.
Which was actually positive for me because I've been trying not to drink beer, and I was like, let's go to Postmodern.
Where they got carb-free liquor.
It's the fucking best. Postmodern is so goddamn good.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, dude, I have had myself just a ludicrously busy week. Holy shit. Yeah. I think that within the past week, I've probably clocked in, I'm going to say a minimum of close to 60 hours of studio time.
Holy shit.
About 40 of those took place in 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah. It has been absolutely ridiculous. Me and my main man, Andy Wood, have been working on some top secret stuff that everybody will find out here pretty soon, but it's going to be really, 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 really fun. But yeah, dude, it has just been a 24/7
Are you
thing.
guys starting a Whiskey Kitten cover
like
band?
a tribute band kind of thing.
Is that it?
I can't figure out their songs. Their songs are too hard.
Tough.
Yeah, I can't get them.
Push your mom down some stairs.
Push your wife down.
Push your wife down some stairs.
Those guys were hardcore.
They
Whiskey
were.
Kitten, man. God, I wish they were still around.
Need more Whiskey Kitten, I say.
Miss those guys. Miss those guys. So yeah, we've been just working our damn dicks off lately. I'll tell you what, in the time that I've been home after these long days making rock and roll history, I have had time to watch a thing or two.
Been putting your papers on that TV.
That's what I've been doing. Now, for one, I saw the trailer for The Mandalorian, the new Star Wars series.
Yeah?
Did you see that?
I haven't seen it.
Dude,
I read about it. I haven't seen it.
It looks pretty fucking sick.
That's cool.
That Disney Channel, Disney Channel app, whatever, Disney Network.
Yeah, I'm getting that
take
for
everybody's money, dude.
Yeah, I'm getting it for sure. They announced the Moon Knight show and the Ms. Marvel show, which fucking yes. Finally.
Dude, I am extremely, extremely stoked about it. Yeah, they're going to make all of the money in the world. The Mandalorian series looks very sick. And I think like Jon Favreau is doing it.
That's perfect.
It's a recipe for success. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really cool. I am really bummed out about this whole thing about, Marvel losing the rights to Spider-Man and stuff.
I think people are overreacting to that. They're still bargaining and dealing going on. I mean, we'll still get another Marvel
they're gonna
Spider-Man.
Have to get him back. Like, that surely they had him written into this entire phase.
And they're using their leverage, which makes sense. Like, they're taking a large financial risk and not getting as much as they think they deserve. What they want is a 50-50 split of the revenue.
Well, I mean, look at it this way, dude. Like, I think Andy was telling me about this. It was something like just the newest one, Far From Home. Yeah. Like, that movie on its own, if I'm not mistaken, has made more money than all of the Sony Spider-Man movies combined.
It made over $1 billion.
$1 billion fucking dollars. Yeah, so it's like, if you pass the ball to Disney and then they get a touchdown, they kind of deserve a lot of credit.
They do, because you can't do it.
Yeah, that's just having the characters isn't enough.
I saw some people arguing that, like, Marvel's being greedy. Sony could just make their own Spider-Man movie. And it's like, yeah, they could. And it will make less money. Yeah. And probably not invite a fan base back to see another one. Mm-hmm. Like, people that... Venom made $700 million. First off, cost $200 million. $500 million is a lot of money. Yeah. But that's not what they anticipated investing $200 million into it. So didn't do great, and nobody's clamoring for a sequel. No. So you're just shooting yourself in the foot, Sony. Take the 50-50 deal. Or sell him outright. Just sell it for a large amount of fucking money.
It's Disney. They have all the money. I mean, it's like, name your fucking price, dude. Yeah. And at least be considerate of, like, the fans that are enjoying these movies and finally getting to see their characters on the screen and seeing Spider-Man interact with the Avengers. And
I saw a lot of people defending Sony, and I just disagree with it. I think
the world's not going to be a place for it.
Is wrong here and needs to fucking step up and be like, ugh, we kind of suck at this. Yeah. But they should I mean, they should go for the 50-50 because they still retain all the Spider-Man characters, and they can keep making the Into the Spider-Verse stuff, which they did fucking perfectly.
Do that they did right.
That they did so great. Which I imagine is because the bigwigs were like, I won't pay attention to that. It's a cartoon. It's no big deal. But now a sequel, they'll probably be interfering a whole bunch. Like, could you make this character a Iraq vet? We're really big with Iraqi vets here at Sony.
This. If I was Sony, I would just be looking at this as like, what would you rather do? Go through all the trouble of trying to make an amazing Spider-Man movie that has nothing to do with all the other Marvel characters. Exactly. And maybe making, a couple $100 million off of it. Yeah. Or let Disney do it. Let them make $1 billion. Yeah. You make $500 million and don't even have to make a phone call or lift a finger or write a single word of script. Do that.
It's so much easier.
Easy money, man. Easy money. Yeah, so hopefully they'll get their ducks in a row where that's concerned.
They will, yeah. I think people overreacted, and it was probably a very calculated move on either Marvel or Sony's part to put that out there. To kind of put pressure on the other party to meet the terms. Mm-hmm. We all freaked out about it, of course, but So whatever. I don't think it's going to end up being a huge deal. And if it is, sucks. Tom Holland is probably the best Spider-Man
without a doubt, in my opinion, for sure, man. Yeah,
I mean, and Sony could make a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie and just not mention the MCU, but they can't do the writing the same way. Like if they could pull somebody over who knows how to write within the MCU well, and if they had to, because the reason that the Marvel stuff works so much is because Kevin Feige is the final word, and he knows comics.
Yeah, he's like the keeper of the keys over there.
Yes. If you put somebody like Zack Snyder in charge, which is what DC did, you get all this fucking bullshit. So, like, if Sony smartly decided to put someone who actually loves comics in charge, knows what they're doing, and can guide a large number of movies in the future into something interesting, that'd be great. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. Yeah, do check out that Mandalorian trailer. It looks very sick.
Yeah.
I also have been watching the newest season of Queer Eye that just dropped on the Netflix. It's just a fucking
people love that
great
show.
time.
I need to sit down and watch it. I'm just not a big fan of that type of show.
I'm not usually either, dude. Like, that's literally the only show like that
this is how everybody gets into those shows.
Yeah, that's true. I don't watch any of them except for
yeah. And then they get into all the bullshit.
Yeah. You know, one thing that did kind of strike me about this season that I think has been really great and really beneficial, I think, for the greater gay community, is that, like, if you go back and watch the earlier seasons, or especially like the first run that they did with the different cast, you know, that was in like the early 2000s, for the straight guy, it's like they really tried to play up that, you know, they would hook up with some old farmer and try to turn his life around, and he'd be like, I've never hung around no sissy boys before. I've never known a gay.
Never known a gay.
Yeah, like this time around, especially this season, like there's not even any mention of that. Good. It just kind of shows, you know, what you think of as normal, everyday, fucking middle of the country people, and these guys come in and help them change their life and stuff like this, and they don't even bring up, like, I never thought I'd like a gay person. You know what I mean? It's like they're just really normalizing everything.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Which I think is great.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Yeah.
Ellen did it.
Yeah, absolutely so. Right.
And I mean, that started in 98 when she came out, when she had one of the most popular shows on television. Yeah. And it ruined that, like, popularity, but she kept fucking pressing forward and became the Ellen we know today, and everybody's like, I love Ellen.
You want to talk about somebody with fucking balls of brass that drag the ground.
Yeah,
it's
she's
Ellen.
Awesome.
Dude, I mean, like, her show was gigantic. And then just to be like, you know what?
I'm gay.
And it's like, I am hyper visible right now. I am in the spotlight. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to hopefully bring awareness and acceptance of everybody in my community.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, balls of brass.
Yeah.
And then
Rosie O'Donnell came out too when she had her talk show that was huge.
Yeah,
daytime talk show. Yeah. Yeah. For a while there, that was ruining people's careers, but now it's like,
okay,
fine.
Who cares?
Yeah. No big deal.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank God, man. We also happened to sit down last night and watch A Star is Born, the new one with Lady Gaga. And that other fellow that's the voice of Rocket
Raccoon, yeah.
Yeah. What is his fucking name?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper he's known as. Yeah. I was testing you.
Oh, good. Well,
you passed the test.
I passed the test.
Way to go. Notice how I recognize the names? Because I already knew.
Yep. True.
Exactly like that. Holy shit. It's phenomenal. It is a incredibly well made, very easy to watch, very entertaining, gorgeous, and ultimately crushing movie. I don't really cry at movies like at all. Yeah. I was just like falling to fucking pieces at the end of this movie.
Weeping like a baby.
It's amazing. And Lady Gaga is an awesome actress. She does great in this fucking movie. And so does Bradley Cooper. He's amazing.
It's not really a surprise Lady Gaga was an awesome actress. It's the same with like Madonna, where it was like, well, she's putting on characters all the time.
Right. Or like pro wrestlers. It's like, well, no shit, they're good actors.
Yeah, that's what they do. So, yeah. Not a surprise. I'm glad she is, and I imagine she'll take the Madonna route and eventually marry Guy Ritchie.
Oh wow!
And make a bad movie.
Ooh, does she start getting British later on?
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Twist.
Hello, I'm Lady Gaga.
Aren't I?
Aren't I?
Oh man, yeah, dude, it's fantastic, and apparently Bradley Cooper, I think, directed it too.
Did he?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Fuck, it was fantastic. Blew me away. What you been watching? You guys got together for that chat there the other night while I was.
Oh man, that's
when I was.
This was a perfect theme night chat.
I wish I could have made it. What was the theme, Steve?
Cops.
Bad boys, bad boys.
Yeah. First movie we watched was a Dave Bechet special, which means it's gonna fucking reek.
Love that Dave Bechet.
Yeah, it was Samurai Cop.
I don't know what Samurai Cop is. I think I love it though.
It's not a horror movie. It's a samurai movie, I guess, but it was well within the range of movies we watch on Friday nights.
Could you give me an idea of maybe what the movie was about? Because I've never even heard of it.
A bunch of white guys fight to decide who's the most samurai.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, like there are Asian characters in it, but they die before the final battle. And the final battle is between two white guys, and one of the white guys is Samurai Cop. The other one is just a henchman to the main boss guy from earlier.
Already dead.
Yeah. So it's just like, okay.
All right.
He's played by Robert Zdar.
That guy's weird as shit.
Yeah, with his gigantic jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the bad guy, and the good guy looked like, I don't know, just some guy who was in a hair metal band, and then they were like, nah, you should probably try acting. And then he was like, okay. And then they were like, no, you should probably try grocery bagging. I don't know. It was real rough. Then we watched Maniac Cop, which is directed by William Lustig, director of Maniac.
Yeah, he loves all things maniacal, I suppose.
He loves maniacal shit. And it had in the beginning, it had some Maniac type of dirty city
grimy
feel,
yeah,
and it had 3 kills real quick, and we were like, fuck yes. It was one of those where I even questioned, I was like, I think this might be the best movie we watched so far, but that was 15 minutes in. Then it got slow.
I've heard it kind of goes downhill.
It's got Bruce Campbell in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, young Bruce Campbell. It's got Robert Zdar in it.
So you guys not only had a cop theme, you had a Chins theme.
We had a Chins theme, yeah.
Did you guys watch Jay Leno clip reels afterwards?
Yep. Then we watched that Jay Leno Pat Morita movie where Pat Morita karate chops a taxi.
What? I
don't remember what it was called.
I love it already.
It was the only movie Jay Leno was in.
Anyway, so Maniac Cop just kind of fizzled out.
It fizzled out. It lost a lot of its luster, and it became more of a whodunit, and it was just like, I don't give a shit. I wanted because it was, spoiler alert for a 39-year-old movie. Robert Zdar ends up being the Maniac Cop.
No shit.
And he's fucking frightening and scary and shit, but it's why didn't you do that the whole movie? Just have him be frightening and scary and shit the whole movie, like Maniac.
Yeah.
Where the Maniac is a goddamn maniac the whole time.
He's a damn main character.
Yeah, it lost a lot of its fun, but it was perfect for Friday night streaming chat bullshit.
So who do you think was the most maniacal of these maniacs?
I would say, in the end, out of the two, Maniac Cop versus Samurai Cop, who would I be most afraid of?
Yeah.
Samurai Cop. He kills so many more people. And he's a cop.
He's a mass murderer.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, good. With Maniac Cop, they're like, no, fuck, we gotta stop this Maniac Cop who's killing civilians. With Samurai Cop, they're like, keep it up, Samurai Cop. Murder more people.
You get a promotion. Wow,
that
man.
guy's frightening.
That sounds pretty intense.
The guy who's murdering all the time and has the support of the city.
You don't want that. You don't want no part of that.
No.
What else have you been watching?
So I talked about Mindhunter Season 2, I think, last week.
Yeah, you did.
And
I still need to watch that shit, man.
You do. I convinced Emily to watch Mindhunter finally, so we started at Season 1, and she's hooked. And I'll just tell you again, it's fucking great.
Damn.
Such a good show.
What the hell am I doing with my life, Steve?
It's just so good. If it'll help you at all, one of the main characters was in Creepshow 2. Does that help?
It does help me a lot.
All right.
I love Creepshow 2.
Okay.
Well, damn, dude. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, Mindhunter, seriously, for anybody who's into true crime or profiling and stuff like that, it's based on true stories. And not like SVU where they change the names. Like they talk about Manson, Berkowitz, etc., Edmund Kemper, and they have people play these serial killers, and they are so fucking good. The guy who plays Manson in Mindhunter is the guy who plays Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, they got the same guy.
I still want to watch that. I still haven't seen it. I had a dream I saw that movie last night. It just came back to me.
I would love to have the time to catch it.
Yeah, no shit, man.
Hopefully it'll be out soon on VOD, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like to see it in theaters, though. I want to give old Quentin my monies.
Yeah.
That foot-loving son of a bitch. You know, I was going to ask you about this, too. In all of my road running madness and stuff I've been doing this week, working in the studio and stuff, I started listening to last podcast on the Left series about the history of Mormonism.
Oh, yeah. People recommended that to me, to which I said, question mark?
Question mark?
Why would I could tell you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
I went into being a Mormon and got out of it. Guess how I got there?
Maybe learn the history and background.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. So yeah, I'm glad people are listening to it. You need to hear it.
I knew some of the rough details. I didn't know a lot of the specifics.
But there's one thing I need everybody to go ahead and stop doing: pretending Mormons are crazier than other Christians.
That's kind of the thing. It's easy to just like really poke fun at them or Scientologists or whatever.
They wanted to marry men and women together in groups. At first, by the way, it wasn't just men marrying multiple wives. It was also women marrying multiple husbands.
Oh, get some, girl.
Yeah, that's why they refer to it as polygamy and not polyandry or polygyny.
Okay.
Yeah. So that actually wasn't even that strange of a concept in the late 18th, early 19th century. In fact, you'll find that Mary Wollstonecraft was an advocate of open marriage. The mother of Mary Shelley, her father wrote a book about a utopian community where all of the people in the community are married to each other and therefore can have sex with one another.
Whoa, that's some wild stuff.
Joseph Smith wasn't even the first to come up with it in upstate New York. There were already other sects of people who were living in these either like spiritual marriages, or even people what are they called? The Shakers? Are they the ones that don't have sex at all?
I think that might be them.
They were looked at as crazily as polygamists. The 1820s was not a time of God. It was a time of science.
Or of monogamy.
So hearing about a religion where they don't have sex was just as shocking as a religion where they have sex with a bunch of people.
That's interesting. I didn't really know about that.
So we look at it now and we go like, oh, the Mormons were crazy. No, there were a ton of fucking crazy sects at that time because the only people who were religious were the crazy people. The rational people were all like, whatever, deists maybe. A lot of them just didn't even deal with religion at all. It wasn't a big deal.
But the one that has the guy that has magic hair that makes him super strong, that one I take seriously.
Yeah, right. Or the prophet, the prophet Joseph Smith marrying a 14-year-old girl, that's bad. But Muhammad marrying a 12-year-old girl, okay.
Hall pass.
That's not weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, it's like if you're gonna pick on them, be sure to pick on all.
Yeah, pick on everybody.
Yeah, and I do. I pick on all of them.
Yeah, like that was actually one thing I take away from the church Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They don't want to be called Mormons anymore for some reason.
They talk about that on the show. Yeah.
It's stupid. It's just rebranding bullshit. They're trying to get people to not pay attention to the fact that they're not doing anything about the child sex abuse scandal that's going on within the Mormon church.
Woo!
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. So if you associate Mormons with that, that's not us. We're the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
That's what we call rebranding.
Yes.
Rebranding. Yeah. Paris Hilton sex tape leaked. No, I make shitty perfume and awful TV shows. Rebranding.
Rebranding.
I'm known for being an idiot. Rebranding.
I found that though a lot as a missionary, especially when we dealt with missionaries from other churches in Russia.
Yeah.
That in Russia, especially, the Seventh-day Adventists and Jehovah's Witnesses are working their asses off trying to convert everybody. And they're both fucking insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
What, so, you want to never celebrate a birthday again? Come join our church. Yeah. Don't be crazy.
Do you want to argue with people constantly about when's the right day to go to church? Seventh-day Adventists.
No.
Yeah, they're all insane. but listen to it. But also find out how insane all your other sects are.
I think that's a fair and balanced outlook.
They're all cults, is what they are. They all are established in the same way, especially since the advent of charismatic preaching.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, it all just became about the preacher. I mean, that's a thing in the South. You'll hear old ladies talking about, my preacher does this and this and this. It's not even about Jesus. It's not about anything. It's about the preacher.
The man delivering the message. Yeah. It's a cult of personality. Right. Cult of personality. That song has a horrible guitar solo in it. Bottom line, fight me. I'm sticking to my guns.
Do it.
Well, Steve, the subject of our show today is none other than Mandy.
Yeah.
From 2018, starring one Nicolas Cage, who is known among Hollywood and popular culture as being somewhat of a wild card of human being.
A wild card, yeah. He is the Charlie of the group, yeah.
Yes, I'm a wild card, bitches. That's still, dude. The gang solves the gas crisis.
Yeah.
Fuck, one of my favorite Sunny episodes.
So funny.
And Nick is a wily man on and off screen, and I gotta tell you, I'm especially loving this like late in life Nic Cage. Like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want to.
Because he can now, right? Like, I mean, he could a long time ago. He's had a lot of money for a long time, but like, now he's just like, the roles where I can be the crazy person, mom and dad, Mandy.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of like, people expect me to be a nutcase, so I'm just gonna do it.
I really wish they'd throw him into the Fast and Furious franchise somehow. They gotta get him in there. I think, like,
it just makes sense, really.
I mean, apparently, I haven't watched Hobbs and Shaw, but I listened to the How Did This Get Made episode about it, and they throw so many references to other movies into it, like not Transporter, Italian Job, and like...
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard it's actually really fun.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard anything bad about it at all. Yeah. How Did This Get Made? They loved it completely.
Nice.
But yeah, like, they could easily, because he was in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah, which is awesome.
They could just bring that character in.
Dude, that would be such a cool crossover. Fuck, that would be awesome. And Nicolas Cage has played so many memorable characters over the years. I think about High from Raising Arizona.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh my God. His character in that is just like,
son, you got a panty on your head. You got a panty on
your head. Her womb was a barren place where my seed could find no purchase.
No purchase.
God, that movie's so fucking good. That'd be a great wild card to do one day on the show, you know?
Yeah. Man, that's just... That movie.
It is a jewel.
I could even argue there's a horror element to it because of the biker who's after them and the nightmares he's having about him and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. There's kind of a horror element there. And of course, he's played all kinds of other nonsensical, crazy shit like Ghost Rider and all kinds of other crazy things. But you know, Steve, before we start into our review of the Nicolas Cage masterpiece known as Mandy, there's a question I have burning in my mind and in my loins.
What would that be?
Something I gotta find the answer to. I've heard tell that everyone has a Nicolas Cage character that matches their personality. What's mine?
I would like to find that out. Who could we ask?
I bet that as we slide on into the Preview Palace...
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
We might be able to find some of those wizards and witches over at BuzzFeed.
What?
That might have a short... Oh, Fuzzbead!
Fuzzbead!
Brings a ledger! Post haste! I bet they got a quiz.
I love when Fuzzbead shows up.
Yeah, he's always great to have around. They're going to tell us which one that we are, Steve, and this is a quiz by Chloe Lana. Dude, fucking white people are just making up names at this point. They're just making up names.
True, and not washing their legs.
Use the old ones. Hey, I mean, the soap is running down from where you wash your pits and your hot spots and your shampoo your hair. It goes down your legs.
This isn't a thing that white people are taught. It's a thing that they don't do culturally.
It's instinct.
I didn't start washing my legs until I was a teenager because I was finally like, of course my legs are dirty.
What are you doing to those things? Yeah, stomping in the mud or something?
Yeah.
All day, if that's the case, that is a thing.
Stomping fool.
I have given up mud stomping. Splash. I gave it up years ago. So this isn't something I concern myself with. After the entire that entire stomp craze that we went through in the 90s,
it was the best. Smacking on a trash can.
And remember, Kirk Franklin was like, "Your mama says stomp." You remember that? That's the one I was thinking of specifically because I was so churchy back in the day.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, there was also the improv dance barrel
Probably
playing
not where he got his idea. Christian musicians known for getting like original ideas and applying them to Christian music. Not finding out what's popular and making Christian music that.
Yeah. It's a difference. Do you ever think that like maybe one of those guys that plays like the barrels and trash cans and stuff in Slipknot was just like really into stomp?
He was like fucking stomp. Like if you talk to him at a party, like eventually he's gonna bring it up.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
then he had
all
these like friends that were like really into metal and they were starting a metal band and he was like, now's my chance to use my gift. You know, because he's like living in the middle of Iowa,
running out of the door with his drumsticks and a trash can. And he's like,
guys,
Mom, it's all gonna work out for me. And she's just like, no, it's not.
But then the crazy thing is, it worked.
It worked.
He's just like, oh, hey guys, what's going on? Y'all having band practice?
What I found?
Oh, I got my barrel in the trunk of the car. I could just get some sticks and jam out with the band if you wanted me to. You want me to wear a clown mask?
The majority of parents give the worst career advice.
Yeah, it's true. Completely true.
Because they aren't even aware of the landscape of careers by the time they're trying to tell you what to do.
I really just thought that Sean was wasting his time always banging on that barrel in his room.
Wearing them stupid masks. Who even wants to see that? That's so ugly.
It's scary. I don't know why you wouldn't want to look nice and presentable while you play your songs.
That is definitely at least one member of Slipknot has parents who are still like, when are you going to go to college and finally get a real job? Mom, I live in a mansion. I bought you one as well.
Yeah, well, I'm doing fine playing on my cans. Now leave me be, woman.
Leave me be.
All right, Steve, let's take this quiz and let's find out which Nicolas Cage character matches our persona. Now, Steve, our first question is a short quiz. It's a 5-questioner, but these are some big questions. What kind of pants do you wear?
Who damn?
Leather, corduroy, cargo, or I usually don't wear pants. I think I know the answer to this one.
I usually don't wear pants.
I know you're one of them winter shorts.
I wear shorts, yeah, because I'm always hot.
I think that we've talked about before that winter shorts would make a great black metal band.
Winter shorts. Yes. Winter shorts. When it's cold, we wear shorts because we're cold inside.
Everybody's like, yeah, we got it. You don't have to explain it.
Yeah.
Also, Norway is cold.
So, like, we're always cold, but wearing shorts.
We love ice cream in the winter. Can you believe that? I'll get you, G.I. Joe.
That's Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander, get out of the band.
He's not from Norway.
Okay, so you're a non-short wearing kind of, or non-pant wearing kind of guy.
I wear jeans when I do wear pants, but that wasn't an option, so.
I don't have a leather pant. I no longer have a cargo pant. I just actually got rid of my last pair of cargo shorts.
I would say that was a positive step in life.
It was a positive step in life. I've had a lot of people in my life supporting me and helping me through this transition, and now I look back on it.
Just at a party, just taking you to the side, like, you sure you need all that room?
What are you keeping in those things?
Yeah.
You know? Because what I started to realize is, like, what's with this double life I'm leading, where it's like, in the summertime, I'm carrying all my stuff with me all the time. Yeah. But then, whenever it's wintertime and I'm just wearing a jean that has regular pockets, I'm like, oh no, I guess I don't have my stuff for half the year. What was I doing?
What were you doing?
So now I'm cargoless. I do, however, still rock a corduroy from now. Yeah, from time to time. Man, I like a corduroy. It's all right.
I had some pretty sweet corduroys. They were green in 8th grade.
I had like some olive green ones that were sick.
Yeah, they were dope.
Nice, man. What's next, Steve?
Which of the following is most likely to send you into debt?
This looks like stuff that Nicolas Cage has bought.
Yeah,
in real
this
life.
is stuff that's definitely.
My God.
Dinosaur skulls. You know, he actually bought one and then returned it to the place where it was from when they asked him for it. And he didn't even ask for money. What a guy.
What a cool guy.
Cobras for snake breeding.
Oh, okay. Because I need more snakes.
2 islands. 2 islands. And then a shrunken pygmy heads.
I think the only one of these that I would love to have, I would legit love to have a dinosaur skull like in my house.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say 2 islands because that's what I want. I want an island more than anything. I want a place where I can just be alone from the goddamn world.
Yeah.
But still have the internet.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you don't want to be that cut off,
no,
really.
I mean, look, what am I going to do? Watch Netflix.
Yeah. I would love to have a dinosaur skull. Now that I'm like thinking more about it, like above a mantle or something like that.
It'd be really cool.
Holy shit, like a big triceratops skull.
What if you mounted it as if you killed it?
Oh my god. Yeah, it'd be fucking awesome, man. All right, Steve, who's your worst enemy? It's no surprise to me. I am my own worst enemy. Quoth
Pink.
Lit.
Oh, Lit. Don't want to be my friend no more. I want to be somebody
Break it
else.
down.
That's Pink. Except it would sound more like this.
Don't want to be my friend no
Ooh,
more.
crusty.
Yeah, she's got that cigarette voice.
Kind of does have that smoker tone, doesn't she? All right, who's your worst enemy? Is it the IRS? Erwin R. Shyster, I think they mean. Yeah. My exes.
They
my
live in Texas.
goth son. Yeah, some of those exes live in Texas. My goth son, or, myself is actually one of the choices on here.
Oh, well, there you go.
Huh.
I would say currently the IRS.
Yeah,
'Cause
fuck
we
'em.
still haven't got our tax return back.
No way.
Yeah,
Are you
we're having to
serious?
like fucking appeal something. And
It's like late August.
yeah,
Whoa, that sucks. We got ours like really fast. Did you e-file?
yeah,
There's no excuse then.
yeah.
That's some bullshit.
It's been an issue.
I actually am going to also say the IRS. I hate that shit. It's always like the most stressful fucking point of my year.
Because you
I
know
hate
how
it.
they do this in other countries? They just tell you how much taxes that you owed and whether that much money was taken out of your check. And guess what? They're so efficient that it was. And you don't get a tax return because they didn't take out too much of your check.
That's the thing that's so dumb about the U.S. tax system is like, why do you leave it in the hands of all your everyday people? Nobody knows what they're fucking doing with this stuff.
You know what has stopped it from becoming simplified? Tax preparation services like H&R Block lobby
love it,
to keep the tax code difficult and to make it to the government was going to establish their own filing system and they got enough senators to vote against it.
Oh, they bought enough senators.
Yeah, they bought enough senators to vote against it.
Sons
So
of bitches.
it's not the IRS's fault, but you're right.
All right, Steve, what's next on our list here?
What's your kink?
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Chains, older men. Wait, what is it?
Oh, hello.
I didn't know Nic Cage was in older men.
Yeah, I was going to say, are these Cage related?
Furries, biting.
Ugh.
I gotta assume that's from Vampire's Kiss.
Maybe, I guess so. I guess of these right here, honestly, it does not apply.
Yeah,
But I do love some goth chicks. So Chains is going to be the closest one for me, man.
Yeah.
I'm very okay with that.
Gosh, this is a real tough choice because none of them. So I'm gonna go with furries.
Go for it, man.
Yeah.
Get furry with it. All right, Steve, our last question here. What is your current mood? This is a visual question with a couple of different Nic Cage stills. I'll try to approximate some noises of what I think is going on here. The first picture is Nic Cage kind of going, huh?
I think it's actually right before he says, "We're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence."
I think you're right.
That's from
National Treasure.
Yeah.
The next one is definitely Nicolas Cage going,
Yeah, he's not fully caged out, but he's fucking Cajun for
It
sure.
looks like he might be taking a stony shit on the turlet.
stony shit.
one, I'm pretty
you
sure.
hear each little turtlet like hit bottom.
Oh, just a pebble poop. It's the worst. The next one's definitely Cage going pretty intense, and he's going, ah!
Yeah, and that's from Ghost Rider for sure.
Oh my god. And then the next one is just kind of like the,
It's the Vampire's Kiss face.
is that?
Yeah.
He looks like very intense and crazy.
Yeah. Oh man, what is my current mood? I guess I'm stony shit. Nic Cage. Yeah. Yeah.
I figured you'd go with the intense yell. You had kind of a stressful.
Yeah, I had a real stressful
ride,
ride down here, but I've calmed down since I had a drink before this, and I've had a beer now. So
alcohol makes everything better.
fixes everything.
You can't spell alcohol without spelling cool. Think about that.
You can't. That's true. You cannot.
Proof.
Yep.
Myth busted. I think for me, it's going to be like the very bizarre, intense WTF look here in the bottom right corner because life has just been fucking crazy lately. All right. Apparently, my Nicolas Cage personality is Ben Gates from National Treasure. I'm going to go steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm going to steal Mount Rushmore. Is that in the next one?
I think so.
I'm gonna steal the president.
I'm gonna steal his fucking tax returns.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal her emails.
I really like that first National Treasure though. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, it's fun,
it reminds
dude.
It reminds me of The Mummy.
Yeah,
Where it's just fun.
So. Yeah, it's just fun.
Like, yeah, there's some twists and turns that don't make a ton of sense probably, but whatever. It's
Who
fun.
you is?
I'm Edward Malice from The Wicker Man. The bees!
Not the bees!
The bees!
Oh
I'm
my
gonna
God.
punch women in the face.
He just decks them left and
Yeah.
right. That was kind of like the beginning of Nicolas
Great.
Cage going full Nicolas Cage.
Well, like he had done crazy. I mean, Vampire's Kiss. He had done crazy up to that point, but it had been like kind of out of the way. Like I remember The Wicker Man was like huge push in advertising.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it was.
And I remember going and seeing it in theaters and walking out of it laughing my ass off. I thought it was great because it was so insane.
That movie is one of those ones that I remember when it came out, it was just universally hated.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was like, this is the worst movie ever.
Uh-huh.
But it's one of those deals that I don't think it was really supposed to be taken seriously.
No.
I think that it was supposed to be nutty and over the top.
Well, when you compare
Sleepy
it
Hollow,
to,
you know?
You compare it to the original, I can get why people would be disappointed, especially people who knew the original well. The original is serious and more of a midsummer type movie.
Right.
But yeah, like I didn't think in any way that there was no way at least Nic Cage thought it was supposed to be serious.
Well, Steve, now that we know which Nic Cage character we are, I'm going to tell you something that I know.
Tell me all about it.
That's what beer we should drink right now.
Tell me.
This is something very special and magical that made its way into merchants of beer here in Knoxville, and it is from the Maine Beer Company. That's Maine like the state, not the Central Beer Company.
All right.
This is the Maine Beer Company from Freeport, Maine. This is their Lunch IPA.
Okay.
And they do, I think they
I like
also
that plain label.
Yeah, it's like really, really, really simple. I think it's
a very plain
cool,
name.
clean design and stuff that they do. And it comes in like a tall, what is that? A little bit over a pint bottle, I guess.
This seems like something Ron Swanson would make.
Yeah.
You know how like
it says what it is on the
Ron
label.
is like not pretentious at all, but his woodwork is intricate and amazing.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like Ron Swanson was just like, I want to make a delicious beer.
Yeah.
I'm in Maine, the Maine Beer Company, of course.
The label will be white and it will say the name of the beer on it.
And this is when you should probably have it. Lunch.
Yeah, precisely. Dude, this stuff is apparently pretty damn hard to get. Merchants got a bunch, and they recently had it on tap, but I think that they just ran out. And
Merchants
it's
is fucking kicking it.
Yes.
They're getting some good stuff in there.
Yes, they fucking are. And they also make a dinner IPA that's apparently even harder to get, but it's like a double IPA. It's supposed to be amazing. Okay, this right here, the label says lunch is a special whale that has been spotted off the Maine coast since 1982.
Oh.
She has what looks like a bite taken out of her fin, which adds to her unique character. We dedicate this beer to her determination and persistence. Keep on swimming. And dude, I gotta tell you what. This beer came very heavily recommended.
Uh-huh.
And I've had very many of them.
Okay.
It is amazing.
All right.
This beer is fucking...
You've hyped it up.
Fantastic.
All right.
Now, the thing is with a lot of these IPAs that we get, and we try here on the show, it's like this multi-layered experience where it's like, oh, I can taste this on top of this, and then the aftertaste is this.
Uh-huh.
This is not that beer.
Okay.
This is one of the most singularly flavored, clearly tastable.
Ron Swanson brewed this beer.
It is, yeah,
Yes.
it really is. It is one of the most pure, singular tasting IPAs I've ever had.
Yeah.
The taste from start to finish is the same, and the clarity and balance of this beer, I think, is damn near unparalleled.
I'm excited for
You
this.
should be. You really should
Hoorah.
be. Like, you know how, our beloved Lagunitas, for example, how it's like, yeah, they have those flavors, and then after you swallow, there's this big backbone of just that big Lagunitas, whatever the hell it is they do to their beer's flavor. This isn't really like that. It's like a Lagunitas that's been run through a Brita filter or something.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Really stripped down to what the single taste that they want.
Precisely. Yeah. It is just a very elegant and, again, I would say balanced beer. So I'm very excited to see what you think about this.
Pretty pale.
Our beer tastes seem to be pretty fucking similar.
Oh, it smells great.
Yeah. So I think that
What
you
is
will
that?
really enjoy this.
It smells kind of like...
Kind of like hops.
It smells like hops. But, I mean, it smells like a...
It's a 7%er, by the way. And top you off over there.
Got a little fruit punchy maybe smell to it.
I think that you will enjoy this very much.
Try it out.
I love it. I'm buying up as much of it as I possibly can.
You're right. That is just a single flavor.
And it's
great.
Just pure all the way through.
It's just like,
yeah,
it's like distilled IPA. Like
right,
the
that's what I'm saying.
idea of
Yeah.
a perfect IPA, basically.
Yeah. It is just pure flavor. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, because it's got like piney, resiny stuff, but it's also like, there's just a little sweetness to it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it goes in, you taste it, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I know. Just the clarity of this beer, I think, is phenomenal. If you guys can ever find Maine Beer Company, they're out of Freeport, Maine. If you can find them in their in your town, give them your money. They are making a fine product.
Beer company wants to advertise with Dead and Lovely.
I mean, hey, we're already singing your praises anyway.
@gmail.com.
Maybe you do. Isn't that great?
It's really good.
I know. I could drink like
that does seem like it would go well with a meal.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because most IPAs, it's just like the flavor is just
it's too much.
Crazy and intense. You can't really have it with a meal.
You definitely with a real strong IPA, if you're having a steak, it's going to take away from the flavor of the steak. Mm-hmm. But this, like, it's got the single flavor. Like, it would go well with a good, I feel like a steak.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny you mentioned that. This is actually what I had the other night at Rebel Kitchen in Old City, Knoxville. It sounds like this whole fucking episode is just like, come visit prestigious Old City, Knoxville.
You really should, though.
You really should, though. It's fucking
real
awesome.
cool.
It's really badass.
It's really built up. Because I remember when I was a teenager, the first time I had gone down there for like a show or something.
Yeah, there's Blue Cats, and it was a dump.
Yeah. And now it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's badass. But at Rebel Kitchen the other night, which is a really upscale, amazing fine dining place in Knoxville, I did have this with a steak, and it was fucking incredible.
Yeah. Speaking of steaks, because I said last episode I had a steak for my birthday.
Yeah.
My mom, I went to see her. I hadn't seen her in a little bit and wanted to see her, around my birthday. And my mom, when I got there, she was like, I got these steaks, and they were these great looking New York strips. Mm-hmm. And she was like, but I ate before you got here. Do you think you could eat 2 steaks? And I was like,
do you think you could?
Yes, I think I could. So I had 2, and she gave me the best present, and my mom knows me because she was like, "Do you want to cook them?" Yes.
Yeah, of course I do.
I would prefer to make my own steak. Yeah, so I make these 2 perfectly cooked rare steaks and then a medium well for my sister.
Medium well, come on.
Yeah, well,
get your shit together, sis.
Yeah, whatever. And then my grandmother had made some green beans that she had just picked from her garden.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I had fucking 2 perfect
them garden freshies.
New York strips and green beans. Man.
Damn, that sounds pretty fucking good.
That was a great birthday present.
That sounds A-okay. I know what you mean. It's like, I like cooking for myself. Like, that's a gift to me.
Really? Yes.
Cooking is the gift you give yourself.
Thanksgiving for me is like my favorite time.
Yeah, you're about it. That's right.
I know, and people will be like, "Oh, do you need help?" And it's like, no. This is my favorite part of it. Is me making all the food, and then everybody else trying it.
That's where it's at. Okay, so the subject of our show today, Steve, is Mandy from 2018, and it was directed by Wingardium Leviosa.
His name is a spell, but it's Panos Cosmatos. Which, of course, makes bread rain from the stars.
Oh, is that what happens? Yeah. It makes the pan
Panos Cosmatos. You can use it either if you're hungry or to, like, pelt your enemies with bread. Because it's really coming down from the sky.
You use that to fight your gluten-sensitive enemies. Like, oh, no!
Voldemort's like, fuck, I'm going to diarrhea myself.
Oh, my God, dude.
I got to tell you, since we're already talking about his name, I got to tell you the thing. We'll talk about him a little bit more, but the thing you have to know about Panos Cosmatos is his first job was as second unit video assist operator on a movie made by his dad called Tombstone.
No shit.
Yep.
Wait, his dad made
George
Tombstone?
Cosmatos made Tombstone. He made Rambo First Blood Part 2. He made...
Whoa! This is all shit I did not know.
Yeah. And Cobra also. He made Cobra, which is not a great movie, but you do need to see it if you like 80s action movies.
The fucking Tombstone.
Yeah, Tombstone, though. Fuck yes.
Oh my. We've sung its praises many times on the show.
The thing I love about that is the thing that I just read you, second unit video assist operator. that is not. That's almost not nepotism at all. Like, to give him that job is not saying, like, this is my son, you listen to him. It's saying to your son, like, learn.
Get in the trenches.
Yeah, learn how to do this. On the second unit, you're not even on where I am. You're off somewhere else. So people don't have to listen to you because your daddy's here.
Work your way up.
Yeah. And, I mean, that obviously was the mid-90s. So he didn't make Beyond the Black Rainbow till 2010.
Yeah. So he was in the trenches.
Yeah, so he
for
was
a long
building his
time.
career. Yeah.
So this is only his second movie, right?
Yeah. 8 years apart, too.
Wow. He
Yeah.
put some thought into this shit.
Yes, he did.
I've never seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, but I'm aware of its existence and I've seen clips of it because somebody, I think it was a fan-made YouTube video, made a video for a Com Truise song, which is like my favorite kind of, whatever the fucking kids call it, retro wave, vapor wave, synth wave, whatever, 80s sound and electronic instrumental
I know what
stuff.
you're talking about.
I fucking love Com Truise. But somebody made a video of one of his songs that was set to like clips from Black Rainbow, and it looks crazy fucking
I have
nutty.
watched it. I was drunk when I watched it, and
Still counts.
I still enjoyed it. It's like this. It's slow. It's like plotting, but it's also like crazy at moments.
And looks like hyper intense visually.
So awesome.
Yeah. Wow, man. I need to watch it.
I really wanted to watch it to compare the two because, in fact, they're set in the same year, and I think they're probably supposed to be in the same world.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So this is set in 1983, right?
Yeah.
So I listened to a interview with Panos the other day, which I'll be talking about more as we go along, because he had a lot of interesting things to say. And he was talking about like why he chose in particular to set this in the 80s as opposed to current day or the 70s or the 60s or whatever. And he said that basically like where we are as an audience, where we've been watching movies that are set in all these different decades, you know, for, I mean, damn near 100 years now, right? Over 100 years now, really.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there were motion pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 100 years ago.
And he said that his choice to set this in this certain time period, he said that because we've been watching movies for so long that take place in all these different eras, he said what era a movie takes place in is almost irrelevant, and it becomes just like choosing a color or a mood for a movie.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it helps with your production design. It helps with it helps with your costumer, so they can be like, okay, so I'm dealing with this range of stuff. It does make it a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it also can have zero effect like it does in this movie.
Yeah,
the fact that it's an 83 doesn't have an effect.
No, there's like Ronald Reagan on the radio at one point, and that's pretty much all.
Yeah, and then of course the Cheddar Goblin commercial, which is
oh my god, dude.
They I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, yeah, I want to know. I want to know all about that stuff. But you know, the thing is to set this in kind of the early '80s, where we were still in kind of that rollover from the late '70s.
Yes,
I think makes so much sense for this movie because it has this whole like '70s prog meets like heavy metal. Mm-hmm. You know, airbrushed graphics on the side of a van aesthetic that just went with that time period.
I want the truck that Nicolas Cage drives in this so bad.
Oh, dude, it's badass.
It's so cool.
Same. It's fucking sick. When he flips that thing, I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, and it's like halfway through the movie, too. It's
so
like, fuck,
sick.
that's such a cool truck.
Do you think that those things kind of went into influencing his decisions about the aesthetic and feel of this movie? What do you think the influences of this were?
On Shudder, there's a behind the scenes and also deleted scenes for Mandy. Nice. And by the way, every streaming service should include what is on the Blu-ray.
Dude, goddamn, it drives me insane.
I want to see those interviews. I want to see all that stuff. Like, it's just rotting out there. Nobody's watching it, and I'm interested.
It pisses me off. And even like sometimes on Amazon, when you like buy a movie, it'll be like, oh, it's like a 4-hour-long cut of the movie, and it's like, no, they just put all the bonus stuff at the end.
At the end, instead of making it a separate file,
you can
just
select
click on
the shit.
Yeah.
It's not like a DVD where you can be like special features. Now watch this section. Watch this with commentary. It's like, no, it's just one big package. You can sort through it. No, you fucking can't.
No, you can't.
Oh, it drives me crazy, dude. Okay, so you're watching the special features,
right? So he talked about his major influences.
Okay, I'm interested to know
major influences: heavy metal music, heavy metal album covers.
This all makes sense.
Heavy metal, the cartoon.
Okay, yeah,
and also very much inspired by the VHS covers of horror movies that he couldn't watch because his parents wouldn't let him watch them.
He's singing my song, man.
We've talked about this before. This was you.
Yeah.
Where, like, you get an idea of these things just from the VHS cover.
Yeah, totally. The fact that you're not allowed to watch it builds up this mystique.
Yeah.
And it makes your imagination go wild. I talked about that, I think, on the first Child's Play episode, where I was like, what could this be about?
Yeah.
You know?
A Jack in the Box with scissors?
Yeah. Hellraiser, how come he's got these nails in his face? Does he like that?
Did he get that from raising hell? Or is that his particular way to raise hell?
Does he work at Lowe's?
Maybe he does. You need 10 penny nails? Here.
That's so
I'm
cool,
need
though.
More than one, and this has skull on it.
Ooh. But there's something about those classic, 80s VHS box arts that really stuck in all of our brains back in the day,
and the
man.
experience of walking around. Actually, I forgot to mention this. I also watched, there's a documentary on Shudder called Why Horror. I don't think it was amazing, but it did do a good job of trying to investigate like why we're so interested in horror movies. And one of the things that he got into was a lot of our generation is so influenced by just walking around in the video store and seeing those things, and then that making you want to see it. Yeah, it's
not the same as scrolling through Netflix.
No, because you just scroll, and a lot of they don't do as much interesting stuff with those covers on Netflix as they used to do with the VHS covers.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like walking around a VHS store back in the day. It was all just a sales pitch. Every box was like, rent this movie, buy this movie, and on the back it'd tell you enticing information and shit. Yeah. But, these days it's like you scroll through Netflix and it's like, oh, this is the movie starring Keanu Reeves. Of the movie, made in 1988, whatever.
Right.
It's like there's nothing there trying to entice you to purchase it, to put money towards it, Yeah,
I miss it. I think it's something that could come back. Because it's not like Redbox is still popular. People still want to go and select a movie somewhere.
Dude, you know what would be fucking sick?
What that is?
Oh, trademark Dead and Lovely.
Oh,
just in advance. Trademark Dead and Lovely. If whatever, like the next big streaming service, or maybe even just one of the current existing streaming services, instead of the menu being, scroll through whatever, scroll through horror, scroll through comedy.
Yeah.
What if it basically placed you in like a virtual video store where you could walk around the fucker, and there's like all the titles on the shelf, and it's like you could virtually stick your arm out and like pick up a box and read it.
It's like first person shooter
That's
mode,
what I'm saying,
but
exactly.
you're just looking at the boxes,
I would love that.
That'd be fun.
I'd be like, let's go walk around and see what they got today. Trademark Dead and Lovely, dude. That's $1 million. That's $1 million fucking idea. Yeah, with this movie, his influences, he said, for it mostly go back to his two favorite movies, which are Evil Dead 2 and The Road Warrior.
There you go. That's this movie.
It's pretty well on Front Street when you look at it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Road Warrior he's getting revenge for, at first he's trying to save his wife and child. Then he's getting revenge for his wife and child. And then Evil Dead is pretty clear in the way that they choose to color everything, but also in the chainsaw fight, I think, particularly.
And I think in the mixer of gruesomeness and blood and comedy. Yeah. This is a lot more subtle, obviously.
Oh, yeah. There's not as much comedy.
It's more like the same comedic levels like Evil Dead 1, where it's just like a little bit comedic, but mainly weird. I
mean, mostly the one big comedic scene, but there's still some funny things that happen.
There's subtle, funny shit in this. Yeah, for sure. And I think the Road Warrior influence comes out a lot in the gang of the Black Skulls.
Yeah, the Black Skulls.
Which are kind of like Road Warrior Cenobites.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're trying to experience the outer reaches of experience.
Yeah, dude. They're a bunch of acid heads.
They took some acid that was made by the chemist to basically be the worst acid trip ever, and they enjoy it.
And, dude, I think that the Black Skulls are fucking sick. I saw a lot of people online that were like, oh, you never really got to see what they look like.
Of course not.
It's cooler that way.
Yeah, that's what Panos said. He said, I used the Ridley Scott Blade Runner idea of cover it with rain and darkness.
Yeah, dude. And it's cooler that way.
It's way cooler because it's your imagination trying to figure out, like, are those spikes coming through his skin? Or are they on his, like, clothing? The spike guy who got killed first?
He's got, like, fucking wrought iron, like, sticking all over his body, like a rebar.
And that would make sense because, you know, what
he said they like pain and stuff.
Bill Duke, Carruthers. He says, they love it. They love the pain.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's awesome. And it's like, dude, even in that one scene, like, probably the clearest you ever see any of them is when Nicolas Cage, like, wakes up and he's been, like, nailed to the floor and shit. And there's the one that's kind of, like, talking in his face and stuff. And it looks like it has, like, a clear face mask over its face or something.
Yeah,
like it shows it, and I still can't really tell what it is. I think it shows it
several times.
Yeah, it does. I think the design of those black skulls is fucking sick.
Yeah, it's great.
And I love how just kind of ambiguous the whole thing is. It's like, are they supernatural or are they just humans, or does it even matter? I don't think it matters.
When he takes the LSD they take, supernatural shit occurs.
Dude, he barely even sticks his finger on like an atom of that shit.
And it shows him where the chemist is. And
I noticed that this time.
I want to talk about that scene in particular because it's like, it's very LSD, but also like I think there's an explanation for what's going on there. But yeah, he takes that and like, but he becomes like them, and his pupils are fucking dilated like crazy.
Like face melts and
so he becomes like them in the end, and I don't know if like maybe Carruthers said that they were the baddest dudes out there even before they took that acid.
Right? Yeah.
So I think maybe like he becomes sort of bestial and taps into that stuff like them, but he doesn't become. Like he doesn't want pain. He wants to get revenge,
dude. Yeah. I think another influence in this movie, you know, like I said, you can definitely see the Evil Dead and the Road Warrior stuff.
Yeah.
I think Suspiria, the original, had to be a gigantic.
Yeah, the color choices reminded me a lot.
Yeah, exactly. All these just like crazy, raging, bright, weird colors. The whole movie.
They do a lot of red and green. Also, the more purples and blue and pink. Yeah,
and they do a lot of that bright, lurid green and stuff like they do in Suspiria. And also, too, just the fact that undoubtedly, inarguably, the soundtrack and the visual dominate this movie. The story is very minimal. The dialogue
it's a revenge
very
tale.
minimal. Yeah, exactly. Just like how Suspiria, we talked about that on a Suspiria episode like forever ago whenever we did that movie. It's just like mixing an album or something like that where everything can't be huge.
Right.
You know, the drums can't sound amazing and gigantic, and the bass sounds huge, and the guitar sounds huge, and the vocals
all sounds the same.
Yeah, nothing sounds huge.
Which means none of it's huge.
Yeah, exactly. I think that with this movie, you know, choosing to have those two elements of the visual and the soundtrack being so massive and having the storyline be so simple, I think is a wonderful choice. I think that if you were being bombarded by these acid trip visuals in this crazy intense soundtrack while also trying to keep up with like multiple character arcs and fucking family tree, like Game of Thrones shit. Yeah.
There's only one character arc in this movie.
Yeah, it would be sensory overload.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main critiques I see about this movie is people are like, oh, the storyline's so minimal, there's nothing to it. And it's like, dude, try keeping up with a story while you feel like you're tripping balls watching this movie. It would be impossible.
Yeah. I mean, since you mentioned the soundtrack, we should mention Johan Johansson. Fucking nailed it. Using a lot, there's some metal prog rock from that time, but also a lot of his own stuff. And this was his last project before he died. Yeah. So it was dedicated to him. He
cocained himself.
He cocained himself to death,
into the next world. But dude, the soundtrack in this is phenomenal. And something you pointed out that I didn't know is that the movie starts with a King Crimson song, which is awesome. Again, sets that
Starlight.
70s prog rock
what is it,
kind of
Starlight?
thing. I think that's right. I think that's the name of it. And Nic Cage, as the protagonist, Red, was...
That was the name of the album that Starlight was on.
That's so cool. Yeah, so that's just such a deep cut. Like, if
there's
you know
a lot
it, you know
of stuff in here that like I'm not even sure about. Like, because there were so many explanations I found for the reason his shirt had 44 on it, and none of them were convincing to me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like what?
One person said that it was referencing the lost 44th novel of Mark Twain. Another person said it had to do with... was it Jesse Jackson whose number was 44? Like, it was just like a bunch of wild guesses. And my guess is that it means nothing. It's just his favorite shirt.
Yeah, you ripped my shirt.
Yeah, like he just loves that shirt. He looks good in it. I get it.
I love a baseball shirt, as you know.
I wear one all the time.
Huge fan. Never played a single game of baseball in my life. You'd never know because I wear the shirt like a pro.
I played a bunch of baseball. Never wore a baseball shirt.
Right. What the fuck?
Why do they call it that?
I have no idea. It is truly, truly a bizarre thing. Yeah, the soundtrack in this movie is phenomenal. Again, there's a little bit of licensed music in here. The original score stuff is great. I think one of the guys from Sun also worked on the soundtrack, like along with Johannes Johansson. Have you ever listened to Sun? Sometimes they're called Sun O because their logo has like an O and a bunch of little lines after it.
Gotcha.
Like the Sun Amp Manufacturing Company.
Oh, okay.
They are a very strange band. They basically just do like big drones and feedbacks and stuff.
Okay.
It's drone metal, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, the soundtrack in this, I think, is phenomenal. Really, really, really cool and an essential part of the movie.
Really sets the tone throughout. Just makes you really feel alien from time to time. It's got... And of course, that's the end of this, is that he is now suddenly thinking he's on an alien world with 2 moons and a sun.
That's something I was going to ask you about, because the movie seems to take place in maybe the Pacific Northwest-ish?
It's in eastern Southern California. It's in the Mojave Desert near the border of Nevada. That's not where it was shot. That's where, when it says at the beginning... Do you remember the Black Mountains or something?
I don't remember, honestly.
Anyway.
Well, apparently they live down there near Crystal Lake, where Jason's out there floating around, being a good boy.
We talked about this in the Friday the 13th movies, especially when we got to 3, because 3 is shot in California. Where in the hell is Crystal Lake?
Yeah,
I mean,
Jersey, apparently.
In this movie, they're referencing an actual Crystal Lake that is near where it says that they are.
All right,
which again, I fucking... can't remember, but I think they were maybe making a nod towards that, obviously, because he said he was influenced by
classic 80s horror. 80s horror.
So Shadow Mountains is what it's called.
Shadow Mountains. There we go.
Mountains, and it's set in the year 1980.
That sounds like a damn D&D location.
It does. Well, and that's there's some D&D references throughout this as well.
I figured there must be. Like, I don't know shit about any of that stuff, but when you've got stuff like what's he say about that dagger of the Pale Knight?
Yeah, that's
from the Abyssal Lair, the Tainted Blade. That's what it is.
That's from a D&D campaign.
No shit. Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. So do you think that is, in this movie, a reference to D&D to entertain nerds that are watching the movie?
No.
Or do you think that is Jeremiah Sand pulling bullshit out of thin air?
Yeah, that's to show they're full of shit.
Okay, so it's just like, if you know, you're like, it's just a D&D reference.
I guess technically there are 2 character arcs in this, because we see Jeremiah Sand go from leader of a cult to I'll suck your dick to not get killed.
Let's talk about the characters in this movie a little bit and the cast. It's not a gigantic, huge cast of characters here. I would say the main characters are really Mandy and Red and Jeremiah Sand.
And Mandy's dead before the movie's even halfway over.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's start with Jeremiah Sand and talk about his character a little bit. Now, he's played by Bruce Wayne's dad from Batman Begins.
That's true. Linus Roach?
I think that's right. Yeah, Linus Roach. You see his dick in the movie.
You do. You see his dick, and then he gets laughed at.
He does.
He does.
With his shitty, weird music.
I loved
that's about
that
himself.
part about the movie, because I don't love that most every single revenge movie requires violence against a woman to kick off.
There's usually some sort of sexual violence at the heart of most revenge movies.
Yeah, and usually the woman who's being violented, is that a word? Violented?
I guess so.
Yeah. Is this super sweet, wonderful girl, and you're like, oh, why would this happen to her?
Yeah.
And with Mandy, it's like, why would this happen to her? This is super fucked up. And then, like, all right, she's laughing at his dick. Fuck him. Yeah. She knows what's going to happen. But she's spitting in his face in the end. It doesn't matter to her. Fuck him.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty badass. It doesn't take away from the fact that we need a revenge movie where a woman's husband gets killed and she's not going around talking about her kids for an hour and a half. She's going around fucking murdering people.
No doubt.
Yeah, like just fucking slaughtering people like this movie. And at the end, she's fucking the winner, the end. And then that, like every 40, 50-year-old action star who's made that movie, Liam Neeson, Nic Cage, Mel Gibson, every old action star has made the payback movie.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but not women.
I hadn't really thought about that way until you brought it up, but it's like really just about every revenge movie, whether you're talking about, let's say, like, I Spit on Your Grave. Starts with woman gets raped, lives, gets revenge.
So,
But then you look at like Death Wish, and you're like, male main character. Well, his wife gets raped and then killed, and then he goes on revenge. It's like there's always something fucking happening against women.
Why can't it just happen to him?
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, honey, I'm going to go kill all these people. Like,
yeah.
Why does it have to be a woman?
It's always
gets hurt?
that. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
In John Wick, his wife dies. It's not related, though, to...
I don't think so, no.
It's like,
his
so
dog's the thing that
John
sits
Wick
out there.
is an exception. His dog becomes the victim, and that's super fucking sad.
John Wick is so badass.
Yeah, it is.
Fuck. I still didn't see the third one, man. I heard it
haven't
was
seen
amazing.
it yet either. Yeah.
Sure, it's got to be streaming soon.
Yeah, I would imagine. Of course, it made a ton of money. They might be dragging it out in the theaters. I might get those last few dollars.
Yeah,
whatever.
why not, man? Yeah. Why not? Yeah, so this is ultimately kind of a revenge kind of movie, and the relationship between Jeremiah Sand and Mandy is the thing that drives it. Basically, Jeremiah Sand and his cult, which this is just kind of like coming out of the 70s where we've had a lot of cult activity, the Manson family being the obvious.
Yeah, he talks very Manson-y and does a lot of the Manson stuff, which was mostly keep everybody on tons of mind-bending drugs and make them reliant on you. Yeah,
and also you get the impression that he kind of like mills through these women, where it's just like, you were my favorite, now you're old. Now I've got this young, timid girl in here. She's my favorite until I saw Mandy, and now she's my favorite. But they all remain loyal and devoted to him because they think he's at the center of fucking everything, cults and stuff always prey on finding people that are disenfranchised and left behind and making them feel important. That's all you have to do to start a cult.
Best way to prevent cults from happening: have a world where people don't feel disenfranchised.
That would be great. That'd be great. Let's see if we can't work on that.
Let's try building a good world.
Yeah,
and then maybe we'll end cults and mass shootings and all those things.
Maybe. So Panos said that a lot of his inspiration for the character of Jeremiah Sand came from, obviously, Charles Manson.
Yeah.
This failed musician, rock star, wannabe guy that still sees himself as very self-important and has this sex cult and stuff. But he said while he was writing the movie, this is also right when Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah.
And
I can see that. I didn't even know that. I can see that, though.
So he said that he kind of tried to merge the personalities of Mike Pence and Donald Trump into the character of Jeremiah Sand, where he is this guy...
Mike Pence and Donald Trump, or Charles Manson and Donald Trump?
No, Mike Pence and Donald Trump.
Okay, so he's like specifically religious but stupid.
Yeah, and acting so powerful and almighty, but then on a, just turning on a dime, being weak and pathetic. I'll suck your dick, man.
Yeah.
He said that is the way that he envisions Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, Donald Trump is weak and pathetic for sure.
Fucking absolutely so. So apparently he merged a lot of those ideas into the character of Jeremiah Sand.
That's awesome.
I know. I think it's pretty fucking sick. It's pretty cool.
Now thinking back on it, I can see a lot of that.
Which makes the Reagan thing earlier in the movie seem more important. Yeah. Because you're just like, oh, that laid the groundwork for Donald Trump.
Another president with dementia who was being controlled by a whole bunch of other people, just signing papers across his desk thinking, I'm getting money for this.
Exactly. And that's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
The character of Jeremiah Sand, I think that what did you say his name was?
Linus Roach.
I think that he plays him really, really, really well. He has this air of like dominance and power over his people, but then we see those moments when he's alone and he has that like Gollum moment where he's talking to himself in the mirror. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
Tell me what to do. And you see this just like, man, all of these people that act like they are so in control and so powerful are just pathetic fucking people.
They're just acting.
Yeah, they're just acting. That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, it's seen as a weakness to admit you don't know. But this actual real strong people out there, the people who can say, I don't know what we're going to do about this, but I know some things we need to do now to fix something. like that's what you need. You need somebody who's like, yep, you know what? We don't have a solution for all that, but we have solutions for some of it. And let's fucking do that.
I think it would have been very easy for him to play this character way over the top and get like silly, ridiculous. Like, here's me on my album singing a song about myself while I wear these weird shoulder pads.
Show off my dick.
Yeah. I think it would have been really easy for him to get very over the top with this. And apparently Panos originally wrote this role with Nicolas Cage in mind. He wanted Nicolas Cage to play Jeremiah Sand.
And Nicolas Cage wanted to play Red. And it took him some convincing for Panos to be like, yeah, okay. And basically what they say in the making of thing is that they were finally just like, are we being stupid? Nic Cage wants to be in our movie.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Do whatever you need to.
Obviously.
And Nic Cage, of course, plays Red in this, our main character.
He's a lumberjack. He's had a rough time. He and Mandy both have had a rough life up to this point, but they're happy with each other.
They live in a house that's made of just windows, I guess.
Yeah,
that house looks so awesome.
It did.
Oh my god.
He's a lumberjack. They're up in these mountains and living in this like cabin away from everybody, but they're happy. He's former alcoholic, we gather.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, just a quick side note. Was he the former alcoholic or was she?
Well, he's offered a drink early in the movie and he's like, no.
Oh, really?
And then later he goes to his hidden bottle of vodka, which is very much an alcoholic thing.
Boom, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah, because he made like a beeline for it in that bathroom. Went straight to it and I was like, is that just where he knows Mandy hides hers or is that his stash? Yeah.
Well, we know they've both had it rough, and Mandy has that scar on her eye,
never
but
really
no
revealed.
Explanation for it. Yeah. They're
which
both,
again, I'm glad they didn't explain.
But there's also some implication that he may have been in the military because of his association with Carruthers. It seems like maybe they have this background,
and he's wearing
Vietnam.
like a Vietnam jacket and shit. That's the impression I got too. I was like, maybe these guys know each other from being in the shit.
Yeah, but again. Never says it out loud. This movie's so good at showing and not telling. Like,
yes, dude. The thing that makes good stories good.
Because, as you said, it's too big to get you thinking off in these other alleys.
You don't.
It's got to keep going down the street. Like, yeah. Everything else is just too big for them to have one line where Carruthers is like, "Remember when we're in the shit?" Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't need that. That's one of those deals where he was very careful while he was making this movie about trusting his audience to get just the implied shit that would be going on without holding your hand through every step of the movie. Yeah, his character of Red is at the first of the movie, I think, very sensitive
to her.
Yeah, to her.
To the rest of the world, he doesn't seem to care about anything.
No,
he just goes to work, comes home, and that's it.
Yeah. And then after that's taken away from him, he just goes fucking into mega Nic Cage cocaine mode.
I mean, that scene in the bathroom where he's chugging the vodka and just screaming and crying,
pouring it all over his wounds and stuff. It is so intense. And it's also aided by the fact that, like, dude, the fact that they chose to make that bathroom in that crazy, like, floor to ceiling,
that
vibrant
wallpaper
orange,
is insane.
Pattern wallpaper.
It's very much something you would expect from a Kubrick movie.
Yeah. It's so symmetrical.
I mean, the design, not the way it's shot, but the design is very Kubrickian.
Totally. Dude, that scene where he goes into that bathroom and, like you said, it's just screaming and forcing vodka down his throat, and like he like grabs his throat as he's drinking it because he tells like burning his throat up and stuff. It only served to remind me of one of the more surreal moments that I've had in life that made me think of someone power chugging alcohol. There was a time many years ago, Steve, where I was temporarily playing guitar on tour with a band from Knoxville that got signed to like Roadrunner Records and stuff called Straight Line Stitch.
Yeah, I remember Straight Line Stitch.
Band.
I remember partying with them.
Yeah.
I was Mormon then, though, so I don't know how hard they partied.
Ooh.
I was just like, oh, these people are fun.
We had ourselves some good times, and one of those times involved us playing a big show at Ground Zero in Spartanburg.
Okay.
Which is a big like heavy metal venue. It's like one of those deals where it was like clearly an old warehouse or something with all kinds of different rooms that they converted into like a venue with multiple stages and shit, right? And this particular show we were playing was like one of those 6-hour, like there's 20 bands playing on 2 different stages.
Okay.
As I Lay Dying was playing. That was before Tim Lambesis tried to have his wife murdered. That was before that, when they were still like cool. And we played our set. It went great. Stuck around, watched some of the other bands that play and stuff. And as I was fixing to leave that night, Kate was with me this particular night, we stuck around to watch an artist who's known as the Emotron.
Okay.
Emotron. I do not know if this character still exists, if he is still alive.
I hope he's listening right now.
Oh my God, I so hope so. If anybody knows the whereabouts of Emotron, please
have you seen this man?
Yeah, seriously. Dude, this guy, he was a one-man show. It was on like a huge metal fest show. This guy was a one-man show, and he got up on stage with like a really shitty like 80s like Casio like drum machine sequencer thing, and he like hit play, and he'd sing really horrible songs that were very bad. In between songs, he'd have all these weird interludes where he would talk about really strange personal things. And he wore, I think, no less than 15 different brightly colored leotards on top of each other. And in between songs, he'd just strip them off one by one, and you're like, surely that's the last. Nope, there's more. There'd be a different leotard going on all the time. And things got really fucking weird in this guy's set. There was one point in there where he, on his like Casio sequencer thing, turned on like this adorable, like lovely, like nursery rhyme, tinkly bells, music box kind of thing, and had this big deal where he like birthed a baby on stage and like sang to it and nestled it and swaddled it and all this stuff. It was like watching a serial killer just being like, this is music, right? And then at the end of his show, after he'd stripped down to his final leotard, which I think at that point was like a Speedo or something, he, on stage, had the entire show, a case of like Natty Light, a whole case, and his finale of his show was to put on the most like innocent, dreamy, lovely sounding music that he had available on his sequencer. He then proceeded to, as the music played, power chug probably 8 beers before he started projectile vomiting into the crowd. And then after he did that the first time, he proceeded to continue chugging more beers.
Like Andy Kaufman and Gallagher had a son.
It was. That's exactly what the fuck it was. And
so, any of our prison listeners, ask around your cell block and see if this guy's there.
Yeah, the man formerly known as Emotron. Tell him people are still talking about him. I mean, this seriously probably, this is in the MySpace era. Like, I found him on MySpace. This is probably like 2005,
there were a lot of weird acts on MySpace
maybe?
Back in the day.
Jesus Christ. But you didn't get to see him in person very much. He proceeded to kill that entire case of beer and just keep projectile vomiting into the crowd.
Jesus Christ.
That was his act. And then the show was over.
Did he get a standing ovation? Or?
It was more like a running away ovation because nobody wanted to get puked on.
I mean, like, okay, so if sitting down and clapping your hands is good, standing up and clapping your hands is better. It seems to be that scientifically, looking at it, the more activity you're putting into it, the more you're appreciating it. So running away is probably better than a standing ovation.
Well, let's look at it this way, Steve. Running away is kind of like clapping with your feet.
Yeah.
Rebranding.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
That's how Emotron got through every show. Where
Exactly.
he just had to, in his mind, he had to do the mental gymnastics to be like, I fucking killed.
They were clapping with their feet like crazy.
I bet he didn't ever come off like, did I kill? He always came off like, I fucking killed. And then people were like, how so? And then he'd be like, well, clapping is this. Doing it with your feet, even louder. So that's a win-win for me.
A winner is me.
And them, they didn't get puked on, so.
Dude, I've never seen a more painful display of forced drinking in my life. And this movie reminded me very much of the Emotron. So thanks for bringing that back, Panos. Jesus Christ, man. Oh, it was so weird. It was like one of those deals where by that point it was probably like 1 in the morning and I still had like a 3-hour drive home, and I was like, I feel like I should stay and watch all of this because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we did, and here I am talking about it.
Yeah, that's
like 14,
that is a
15 years
life
later.
experience that
I shan't forget it.
Yeah, like there's no reason why. Like, what would have happened if you left? You get drunk. You've done that a million times. You've not seen this.
Yeah, maybe I drove home. Big deal. Never drove home after seeing a man swaddle a baby doll and puke into a crowd.
Never drove home thinking, am I still alive?
Yeah.
Was that real?
Am I drugs?
Am I drugs? Is this a Jacob's Ladder situation?
Right. It really was like that. Yeah, so seeing Red just pound that stuff down remind me of that. And that's also, too, I mean, honestly, legitimately, a really powerful performance.
Yeah.
By Nicolas Cage. Like, it is so fucking raw. And, dude, it's him wearing a baseball shirt with a tiger on it and tidy whities and tall socks.
Yeah.
Just looking like a dad and just going through the worst moment of his entire life. And it's strangely believable in this fucking acid trip of a movie.
I have something to say about that, but I just realized this movie is metal Lisa Frank.
Yeah, it is.
This
is metal Lisa
Frank. It even has a tiger on LSD.
Tigers, moons, bright colors. I think that's Lisa
There's
Frank.
a fucking tiger on LSD in this movie, and they just release it into the wild.
Well, because he received a telepathic message, I guess, from Nicolas Cage.
I'll talk more about that in a little bit.
I can't wait to hear more about that,
but,
man.
Yeah, he's fucking... Here's the thing. His wife of 14 years unexpectedly decided that she wanted a divorce right before he started shooting this movie.
Oh, like real life Nic Cage.
Yeah.
Woof.
So he was channeling that in that scene. Just because he had no idea. Like, I understand. I'm not picking a side here. Being married to Nic Cage is probably not easy.
Probably not easy.
And she probably thought, this is very much expected, Nick. But for him, it was unexpected.
Yeah. Aw, bless him. Now, Mandy, I don't know the chick that plays her.
Yeah, Andrea Riceborough is her name. Yeah.
Has she been in anything else?
She's been in a number of other things, but nothing huge, I don't think.
She is a creative spirit. She's always drawing these amazing illustrations, reading fantasy novels.
Right.
Like you said, she seems to have come from a very troubled background. She tells that story about her dad, like killing those birds in front of her and stuff.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it sounds like she came from a really fucked up background, but she seems to play this character that is full of, I think, innocence and a childlike kind of nature.
Yeah.
And you can really tell just through their dialogue that her and Nicolas Cage's character really care about each other and love each other, but it doesn't really go over the top to show us like, oh, they're having picnics together and there's a miniature pony and whatever.
That's the thing about people with a troubled past, is being able to sit together and just enjoy your time.
Yeah.
That's the big shit. It's not being off flying kites together. The big shit is to actually be comfortable, but when you're with somebody. And so in this case, they're this perfect couple for each other.
Yeah.
And so you get why she is his whole world. You get why, like, I mean, not even like that. I can't imagine someone burning my wife to death in front of me.
Jesus Christ, it's so brutal.
And I can't imagine the rage I would have. But I could imagine wanting to do all of what he does. I can imagine that feeling. So for me, it's just like, yeah, I get it. Like, these two, they're best friends. They're each other's worlds.
And her character kind of comes into the movie, into Jeremiah's world, as this woman who he sees that he has a sudden infatuation with, And she wants nothing to do with him, and that enrages him because he's used to just having people bow to his whims and stuff.
He plays his music, and she's not impressed, and pulls out his dick, and she laughs, and like she gives him all the opposite of what he gets from everybody else.
Right. And can we take a second to appreciate how ridiculous that song is?
It's terrible.
She's like, and this is you singing this.
Have you heard any Charles Manson songs? Like,
kind of like that.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
But they actually released the song on SoundCloud, and it has like 17 minutes of him talking about his philosophies and stuff.
No way. Yeah, I gotta listen to this. Holy shit.
Panos Cosmatos apparently is like real big on letting the actors sort of feel out the character and sort of decide. So Linus Roach did a whole lot to make his character what it was.
Wow.
So, you get Panos putting in this Trump stuff and this Manson stuff, but then also Linus Roach being this guy who's like, how could you be this person and also be this ridiculous fraud? Like, how can you be, like, in front of everybody, this big, like, personality who is in control of everything, and then when you walk away and you're by yourself, you're a fraud.
Well, that's like basically every cult leader.
Yeah.
They all know they're full of shit.
Yeah, they do.
But the way that her character interacts with this cult, which they identify as Jesus freaks, and they're all wearing crosses and stuff. I think that this kind of draws into that classic story that we've seen in history and also in movies like Sleepy Hollow of the devout priest or religious leader that falls in love with a witch.
Right. Okay.
And is rejected and turns it into, kill all witches.
Yeah, these people, modern days, are called incels.
That's precisely it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they fucking stay the same.
And they have their own, gospel, which is what television has told them is supposed to happen when a boy meets a girl.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And they don't get it. Like, the thing is, like, there are incels that are good-looking dudes. You just have to realize this. Like, everybody thinks of incels as these, like, hideous guys that live in their basement and nobody would ever care about them anyway. There are incels that are good-looking dudes who just got rejected once by a girl who maybe was as attractive or maybe a little more attractive than him, and now he thinks all women deserve to suffer because he was rejected once, and that's what this is.
Yeah, that is exactly.
That's what he does. Yeah. Like he needs absolute servitude from
and mindless devotion. I mean, that one chick plays damn Russian roulette to prove her submissiveness to him. Yeah, that character I don't get entirely because he doesn't end up killing her, and I kind of get it. Red spares her. Yeah,
she seems like maybe like she was taken at a young age and is being brainwashed, and maybe she has a chance.
She seems remorseful about some of this stuff. Yeah, like she doesn't really seem to jump on board with the same vigor and enthusiasm.
Whereas all the others, the brothers, they all seem happy about it.
Yeah,
don't give
the
a shit.
gray-haired woman.
Yeah, she's very pleased.
Completely brainwashed into this whole situation.
I don't know, man. I think you caught on to something, and I'd like to see that explored more. There's like I think that idea of this man with these very rigid principles, doesn't even have to be Christian, but just rigid principles.
Yeah, his idea of reality
meets up with this free spirit. He's attracted to that. And the free spirit, because it's free, rejects him.
Right,
and because he's rigid, he can't handle that.
Yeah. And also she has just that entire creative element that I think we see in creatives and witches and stuff like this, where she's always doing this fantasy art, reading fantasy novels and stuff. And her fantasy art is a really interesting thing, because you mentioned a second ago that we see later on there's like 2 suns or 2 moons.
Yeah, there's like just all these heavenly bodies, and it's like this volcanic sort of landscape. Well, let's get into the LSD, and I can talk about that, because like the drug use in this, the idea seems to be that immersing yourself in these drugs brings out more of the world. You start to see more, and you start to be able to do more. Like, for instance, the chemist has this huge radio tower above his lab, and he seems to be able to communicate with people who take his acid
through
through this radio tower. And then when Nic Cage is there, Nic Cage doesn't say a single word, but he's telepathically communicating with him.
That is one of those things that, like, this time I was watching the movie and I was like, what in the fuck is going on with this scene?
That is very much LSD. Very much. People do feel telepathic from time to time, especially when close friends take LSD together. They will oftentimes be thinking the same thing.
Wow.
And get in this very tight groove with one another where,
That's crazy.
So,
like the Olsen twins.
Like the Olsen twins, yeah. I bet they when they take acid together smoke
so
a lot
crazy.
of cigarettes probably.
Ugh, gross. Grody, man. Yeah, all that stuff with the chemist is really strange. And that guy, this time when I watched the movie, I was like, oh shit, that's that guy from fucking 31, which is a horrible movie.
That is true.
But he's pretty good in it.
He is. But he is also Joe Chill. He killed Thomas Wayne in Batman Begins, and here he is again with Thomas Wayne, aka
working for
Linus
Thomas
Roach.
Wayne. That's
Working
so
for him.
Crazy, man. I had no idea that was him in Batman Begins. We were talking about this before the show, and I was like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I knew that guy from somewhere when I watched him in 31.
Bill Duke is good. I mean, 31's just not a good movie, I think, but he's good in it. He seems to be good in everything that he does.
It's a terrible movie.
He's in the 3 from Hell that's coming out.
Oh yeah, is he really?
Yeah.
Well, I hope they fucking get that right.
I hope they get it right too.
We'll definitely be talking about that on a future like mini-sode of the show for sure. Yeah, I hope they get that right. And he's got a tiger, which he just decides to let free.
Yeah, that's an interesting production note. Is that was supposed to be a lizard, which is why its name was Lizzie.
Okay.
And then whenever he got there on set, what's his name again? Oh, Richard Brake. I said Bill Duke. Richard Brake. Whenever he got there on set, Panos was like, the lizard, it's actually a tiger now. So like now you're just like, oh,
makes
cool,
sense.
Get to be in a room with a fucking tiger. That'll be great.
Good Lord, man. Now, he's the guy that makes the LSD, and that whole drug-induced state is a huge part of this movie. And again, as somebody who's never done any hallucinogens...
He's making LSD without gloves, meaning he's constantly tripping.
See, that's something I was going to ask you about, is because, like, whenever Red goes to the lab, this dude is clearly tripping balls, and it shows him making the acid with no gloves on. And it's like, you saw what even just... a pinky finger lick did to Nicolas Cage. So this guy's absorbing this shit into his pores 24/7.
This also might come from an X-Files episode. There was an X-Files episode where there's a cult leader who has a chemist who makes him LSD, and he requests for him to make it more and more pure and combine it with all these drugs until he gets to this drug that only he can take. That, like, no one else can stand to be on it.
Whoa.
It's a pretty cool episode. I mean, it's not great, but that concept is cool. So I think they took a little bit from that too. Where
that's cool.
Yeah. So I think the LSD he's making at that point is just probably normal stuff, because they say that he made that LSD to give to those Black Skulls, like, because he hated them, like he wasn't happy with them, and it was supposed to make them have a terrible trip, but instead they ended up loving it.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can handle it. I assume.
I don't know. Now, in the movie, whenever the people are very obviously on drugs, and I think probably the most noteworthy scene is the scene we're talking about where Jeremiah is trying to impress Mandy in the movie. She is drugged by taking a drop of this stuff to the eyes and then being stung by a
Lovecraftian drug wasp.
What in the fuck? That lives in a jar of oil.
I've never done that before, but I'm a little interested.
Yeah, I can't say I'm not interested. If anybody's got to hook up on those, drop us an email. Holy shit. And that thing like lives in a jar of oil or something, I guess.
It's weird.
And they sting her with it. What in the fuck? Like, you have to be on drugs to write that.
Yeah, I would imagine that's true.
That's not a thought that comes into any normal person's mind. Like,
no.
The cherry on top, as they call it, will be getting stung by some huge, horrific wasp.
Yeah. That's like... Fuck? It's unrelated to so many other things. We don't know, like... Because the knife is bullshit. Like, because they say it's like... got like
it doesn't do
something.
shit.
He just stabs him, and then he has no other effect from it.
Yeah, there is the Horn of Abraxas.
The Horn of Abraxas does call but they're not demons. They're regular people who've been demented by this drug.
It seems that way.
We've got our pals Scratch, Scabs, and Fuck Pig.
That's quite a band of characters right there. There's a couple others.
There are a couple others that I didn't see a name for.
Yeah. I mean, that horn does call them, but the thing is that, I mean, all it takes is like 10 seconds of research into cult leaders to find out that like all of their supposed miracles and stuff they display for their
he probably
just
called ahead and it was like, hey, meet us here. And
exactly.
He was like, all
you
right,
hear the horn blow, come over the hill.
Horn of Abraxas. And everybody was like, ooh.
Well, here's the thing. Abraxas is a Santana album.
Yeah.
You know, so again, that might be just more of that. They're naming it the stuff that we know to prove that it's bullshit. Mm-hmm. You know, that this guy has no power whatsoever, you know?
Yeah. I mean, definitely they're not demonic. They die.
I mean, that one takes an arrow through the throat and doesn't seem to give too much of a shit about it. It could have not hit his windpipe, I guess.
Yeah, could have not hit his windpipe or any of the major arteries. He did bleed a little bit out of it.
Yeah, that one bled a whole lot.
Yeah.
I guess that was Fuck Pig, he's called.
Yeah, so there's something interesting about that house. I'm sure you noticed that they killed the wife and then Fuck Pig raped the husband to death with his knife dick.
I noticed that this time, and it was not nice.
Not nice at all.
Nic Cage wakes up, and he's like walking through that house, and he comes across that highly unsavory scene, and I was like, oh, shit. And then the next scene, like, Fuck Pig, is that his name?
Yeah, he's just sitting there watching porn and snorting coke.
A mountain of, like, Scarface coke, and he's specifically watching, like, doggy-style porn. Mm-hmm. And so you're like, oh my god, like he fucking...
Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's blood all over the knife dick. Yeah.
Oh god, it's so gross,
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's so gross. Yeah, that scene where Nick like cuts his fucking neck open with a box cutter, Steve Spratling style.
I'm immune to that. I've been immunized.
Yeah? You've had it once?
Yeah, you get it once, you can never get it again.
It's like chicken pox.
It's like chicken pox.
It's got to be kind of a relief.
Throat cut.
It's got to be kind of a relief, really.
But it might evolve. Throat cut B.
Oh man,
I'm inoculated from throat cut A, but throat cut B, that's just
it can get
violent.
You. It can get you anytime. You never know about that thing. But whenever she goes into the room and there's all those crazy motion trails going around everything, and it's like everything seems to be happening in slow mo.
That's hyper LSD.
Is that? I mean, have you experienced shit like that?
Oh yeah, trails and stuff.
Yeah.
And when there was a time where I think I've told this story, maybe not, but a friend of mine, Ashley, I had been taking a lot of LSD, and I was like, you know, I've never like seen outlandish shit on LSD.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I could probably take like 15 hits of acid. And he was like
a ton?
You think so? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, how much money do you have? And I had like $5. And he was like, okay. And he had a vial of acid. And he was like, tell me when. And just squirted it into my mouth. That night, I saw some shit.
I mean, okay, how much do you usually... Again, I don't know anything about it.
No, it's like a very small dosage.
So you took a lot.
So I took a lot of LSD. He told me a story about how his house was haunted, and I could see everything he was saying clearly. We were listening to Pantera, and it was like
very intense.
I fell in love with Vinnie Paul, like because the drums were just like in my head, deciding what I saw. Like it was amazing.
Holy shit! Yeah. How long do you stay fucked up when you do that much?
Well, that's the thing is LSD. Like taking a larger dose doesn't make it last longer.
It's more
intense. It just makes it more intense. Like people. Yeah, there's always like the tale of like SLC Punk, that kid who gets the sheet of acid and he runs through the sprinklers and it absorbs into his skin and he's fucked up for life. That's never happened. Like LSD can...
Sid Barrett stories, yeah.
Right. LSD can cause people who have actual like mental illnesses.
Richard Chase, for example.
Right. Yeah. To go into something they'll never come out of.
Yeah.
It's certainly something you have to be very aware of.
And certain people shouldn't do.
Certain people should not do it, for sure. But it was super intense, super amazing, fun time, and then next day it was just like
back to normal.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, for a lot of people, it's apparently very therapeutic, and we're seeing a lot of medicinal benefits of magic mushrooms and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
magic mushrooms specifically seem to be helpful.
So rad.
Yeah,
just getting legalized.
Yeah, Denver legalized them.
Fucking cool. Good. Natural medicine.
I've never wanted to move to Colorado until the past few years.
I'm going to tell you what, Colorado is pretty fucking sick. I mean, just, drugs and stuff notwithstanding.
It's a pretty area.
Colorado is pretty sick, man. It's a really, really, really cool place. And they got
beer. Lots of beer there.
Lots of beer out there for sure, man. Just gorgeous.
Shout out to Colorado.
Yeah, no doubt. Y'all are cool. Send us some beer.
It's Colorado, they say. They're mad at us.
We're from the South. How accurate does this movie make you feel to like being on real shit? Because this movie to me, man, is so unrelentingly weird and trippy that it's like it doesn't let you feel like you're in any normal state of sobriety just watching the movie.
It is very clear this is something that I imagine Panos Cosmatos just did LSD as he was working on it to try to capture that feeling.
He had to have.
Yeah, because he does a really good job of capturing it.
Wow.
It's intense, but I've had intense trips like that where it's just dark the whole night and nothing ever gets light and funny, but it's still fun.
Does the passage of time become effective?
Yeah, time dilation
that's a thing.
Very common, especially when you start feeling like you're tripping. You'll hear a lot of people say like, what time, like how long has this been?
They do that in Midsummer too. Yeah. See, that's the thing, man, is this movie spends so much time in slow-mo and the characters talk so slowly always. And it's the kind of thing where, if you look over my notes, it's like every other line in my notes is slow-mo, and then there's slow-mo. This scene is in slow-mo, more slow motion. But it's the kind of thing where, as somebody who's never done any hallucinogens, it's like almost frustrating at times to watch because you're like, why is this going so slowly?
Yeah.
But then, from what you're telling me, it's like that's because that's what being on drugs feels like.
It feels like, and that's what they were.
Distortion of time.
They're really going for that, I think this movie has a reverential sort of feeling toward LSD and hallucinogens in general.
Well, it's definitely not out to like make drugs as the bad guy or like this cult is bad because they do drugs.
No, because Nicolas Cage does all the same drugs and he's the hero.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that it's out to kind of demonize drugs and altered states of any kind.
I think it's saying, and this is I think true hallucinogens, is that hallucinogens will strip you down to who you are.
Yeah.
And if who you are is an absolute fuck pig, that's what you become.
Right.
And if who you are is a good person in general, that's what you become. And so, some people, when stripped down, are monsters and terrible and want to inflict pain on others. And some people just want to live a normal, happy life.
Yeah, that's cool, and that makes sense too when you look at it that way. Because as I was watching the movie, just with critical review goggles on, there were, I can't lie, I do think this movie's amazing, but there were a lot of times where I was like, can this not move on? And I love slow burn movies, dude. Like everybody that listens to the show knows, like The Shining, Rosemary's Baby, House of the Devil, The Witch, Black Ghost Daughter. Like all those are my favorites, and they're very slow movies. But there's times in this where it's like,
it's literally slow.
It's literally slow.
Like there's nothing slow happening motion. In any amount of speed.
Yeah, like having a crazy action shot in slow motion. Okay, cool. I can see what's going on and really savor this moment that would just go by in a second otherwise.
Yeah.
And then there's parts where it's just like, this is just dialogue between characters. Why is it in slow motion? Like, oh my God. There are moments where it is frustratingly slow. And there's even just... again, frankly, just because we're being critical, there's a lot of just downtime. Like, there's that scene where the guys with the Horn of Abraxas are waiting for the Black Skulls to show up, and the guy that has the mullet rolls his window up and down twice in a row. Why?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, does it make you feel like you're on drugs and time is distorted? Yeah. Does it make it fun to watch? No.
It doesn't add to the enjoyment.
It's a 2-hour movie.
It probably could be cut hour 45.
I think very easily. I think that saying this could be an hour 50 would be effortless. I think saying that this is potentially an hour 30 movie is feasible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because what it kind of reminded me of, honestly, it's kind of like having an edible. Where like when you have an edible, and it kicks in and you're like, wow, this is really, really cool. And then about 4 or 5 hours on, you're just kind of like, okay, I wish I could get back to normal right now. Like, when is this going to wear off?
This is just happening and not ending, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You reach that point where you're like, I guess I'm just stuck this way for a long time. Where kind of the fun of being fucked up kind of wears off.
Right.
A little bit. Again, that might sound like I'm really cracking down hard in this movie, but do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because, god damn, man, it's like, there are moments where this does just become frustratingly slow.
Though, I would say none of those moments are the animated moments.
What the fuck? The animated parts.
It's so cool.
It's so heavy metal.
Yeah,
like
so heavy metal. Yeah. And then, of course, the Cheddar Goblin.
The fucking Cheddar Goblin. Man, what in the fuck?
This is one of my favorite things to have happened in a while. The Cheddar Goblin. The Cheddar Goblin commercial is directed by the director of Too Many Cooks, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
No way.
Yeah.
That guy did the Cheddar Goblin
commercial. The guy who designed Smurf designed the Cheddar Goblin.
Holy shit.
Yes. So
I did not know that.
And they took a lot of pain to make sure that it's 1983 appropriate. So the kids are wearing the right clothes for the period. The kitchen is what a kitchen would look like in 1983. It
looks like a shitty early 80s commercial.
And then you got the Cheddar Goblin, which is inspired. He said inspired by Ghoulies. The Ghoulie on the cover of Ghoulies.
Absolutely. It does look like the Ghoulie. Holy shit. Again, going back to the VHS covers.
And then Yoda and Satan.
That's precisely what the Cheddar Goblin looks like. That is the most accurate description possible.
Apparently, those kids were getting macaroni and cheese vomited on them for 6 hours.
Dude. And the fact that they chose to interject that commercial at the most inopportune,
it's the lowest moment for him.
And he comes inside after he's watched his wife be burned in front of him and blow away like fucking ash in Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And he goes inside, and on the TV that they were just watching together before all this shit happened, there's the fucking Cheddar Goblin commercial. And he stands there, and we're with him in this moment, and he goes, Cheddar Goblin. Mm-hmm. And he's just watching this commercial.
And we know it's not like a hallucination or anything, because when they show the store earlier where Mandy works, Cheddar Goblin is on the shelves.
Right, yeah.
So it's a real thing in the world.
Part of that world.
And that's what it does. It serves a few purposes. One is a palate cleanser. We just watched a man watch his wife get burned to death alive in front of him.
Yeah.
You can't go past that. So you got to go back down. You got to get us to a level where we can get the action going back up. But what it also does is it takes that world he was living in before and it makes it ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like suddenly, like knowing the evil of the world, he realizes that the few brief moments that Mandy had where they weren't, dealing with the shit from their previous life, that it was ridiculous in some ways, that the world is too brutal for that to exist.
Yeah.
So it's all just absurd. And so the Cheddar Goblin thing is just absurdity at its finest. And it reminds him of how absurd he was ever to believe that the world would let him be happy with Mandy.
Right. Or like, this is how simple my world used to be.
Yeah.
I used to watch commercials for Cheddar Goblin.
And not think a thing about it.
And now I've just watched my wife be burned to death in front of me. And now I'm back to Cheddar Goblin.
Cheddar Goblin. Yeah.
The fact that they actually made that shit is hilarious.
It's hilarious, yeah.
There's some good gore and stuff in this movie, some great special effects. I think the CGI and stuff is mainly used just for those very surreal, strange landscapes and stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of the way they flow the edits together seems to have like some computer, maybe not like
some of it I think is practical, like the dual exposure of Mandy and Jeremiah's face on top of each other. That's something you could do with film.
And apparently they also used the technique, I can't remember what it was called, but where you shine an LED light directly down the barrel of the camera and it adds like this cloudy effect to everything and it makes it kind of just, fuzzy. They use that a good bit throughout. So some of the things that may look CGI still practical. Yeah.
I like a lot of the gore in this is sort of played with a bit of humor. Like you said, we got him cutting that Cenobite Black Skull guy's throat and it shooting blood all over his face. And I love how he doesn't even wipe the blood off his face or whatever.
No, he's got it the rest of the movie.
There's that part later where he sets one of them on fire, chops the head off, and then like lights a cigarette off of the severed head. Which is such an Ash move.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Like Ash would totally do that. Like once you know that was an influence, you see it and you're like, oh yeah, that could totally fit in Evil Dead.
If he had said groovy at that moment.
That would have been it.
Yeah,
right?
it would have been appropriate.
Man. Yeah. And then later on, he like chops the silver-haired chick's like head off and throws it in there at Jeremiah. Jeremiah's like, God is in here, do not enter. And he's like rolls that head in. He's like, oh hi.
Oh hi. That's a cool scene too, because the light is flashing and they use that as like a way to cut from Jeremiah to Red. So like the light will flash and it'll be dark and comes back on Jeremiah, then it'll go dark again, it comes back on Red each time, it just back and forth on
dude. It's cool. Really rad. And then of course we got that whole moment where Jeremiah is just instantly just pathetic.
Yes, he goes through some of the stages of grief there too, because he's instantly pathetic. But then I guess he tries like
I bow before no one.
Yeah, now I'll try the I'm angry method, and that's not working. Maybe I'll bargain with him. I'll suck your dick.
Maybe you'll get your head smashed in with my hands. And his eye like shoots out and stuff.
Yeah, and I love how B movie that like it doesn't look great.
It looks,
but it's not supposed to.
Honestly, it looks a lot like that part in Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yes, when the eye pops out,
which had to be a direct influence on this. Knowing everything that we do about his influences on this movie, he had to be thinking of that.
Yeah, and he's proud of that. I mean, like if you see from in the behind the scenes, they show where that biker is on fire and then he cuts his head off, and it looks just like a paper mache biker with like just a real cheap head that squirts out blood. Like it's not, they didn't go all out.
Yeah,
they just
80s
showed
level.
it quickly.
Yeah 80s level special effects. Now I will say though that the ending of the movie, where a lot of the gore and stuff is, I do think it could have been a bit more climactic. I think that we've had a lot of this build up of like these Black Skulls being this ultimate badass, Jeremiah Sand being this possibly supernatural threat, and then Nicolas Cage armed with
a crossbow
and an axe,
a battle axe he forged himself.
Chrome battle axe, one-piece chrome axe.
That's designed to look like the F in the Celtic Frost
logo.
Yeah, logo. There you go.
So fucking metal, dude. He kind of dispatches everybody pretty effortlessly.
Aside from the chainsaw
fight puts up a little bit of difficulty for him.
The scratch, I believe, was the guy who he shot through the neck and then had a knife fight with. Yeah. That was a bit of a fight. I don't know. I mean, Fuck Pig wasn't easy, though it wasn't a long battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe a little bit more action and a little less of the slow-mo bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just would have liked to have seen a little more struggle, like, oh no, they're getting the upper hand. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of them, he just kind of like, snipes a few of them. He throws a battle axe at one into his head. And, it's like a lot of them just kind of tumble. I wouldn't have minded to see a little more build up.
I think that's supposed to eliminate in our minds the idea that they are actually demons. That they're just people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Again, just elaborating that this is all bullshit.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. They're terrible people for sure, but they're not inhuman.
It is a unique movie. Yeah. I mean, I think that whether you love it or not, and it seems like the majority of the horror community has fucking loved.
Yeah, people who really
movie.
Embrace it. Yeah.
There are some people that just absolutely hate it, and I can understand why. I mean, the complaints I've been talking about, where it's just like, God, there's so much stuff that's just so slow on purpose. And it's just so fucking
strange,
weird. Yeah. And maybe some people just crave something with a little bit more depth of story and stuff to it.
Or less.
Yeah.
Because when I hear some people's favorite horror movies, I'm like, oh, so you just like strings of kills with like the barest minimum of story to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's horror films out there with less story than this for sure. You know, yeah, that's very true, and a lot of them are adored jewels of the horror crown.
Yeah, and they're fun to watch. But I think this in general is also just a good movie. Like even if you're not a horror fan, I think this if you like action and you like just craziness of Nic Cage, this brings it.
Yeah,
like if you like Con Air, I don't see how you're not going to like this movie.
That is an interesting parallel to draw, but it's like, yeah, if you're watching it to see Nic Cage be fucking crazy, this movie sure does have a lot of that.
See Nic Cage be crazy and kill a lot of bad people, which is what happens in Con Air.
Yeah, like which movie are you talking about then?
Yeah,
this or Con Air?
Con Air, man.
That's true, man. Yeah, I think that if you're a fan of metal, especially late 70s, early 80s stuff, weird, trippy, proggy stuff like King Crimson and Camel and all those
heavy
other
metal
kind of
cartoons.
Bands. Yeah, I think that you're probably going to like this movie. I think if you like Argento flicks,
I
think that you'll like this. You know, where it's just so strongly audio and visual, not so much really on characters, dialogue. I bet seriously there are probably 30 pages of dialogue in this movie, if that. There's barely any dialogue.
I get the feeling some of the dialogue was probably cut on set because I think just Nicolas Cage, maybe even in that telepathy scene, I kept thinking like, I feel like there was probably a line there and Nic Cage was like, no, it'd be better if I don't say it.
Yeah, right.
It'd be better if it's telepathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people on set were tripping balls, so they're like, makes sense.
Fuck yes.
Let's go with it.
Are we going to release this tiger into the woods or what?
Yes, let it go and film it. But, you know, I think that whether you like it or not, I don't think that anybody can argue that it is not directed with an incredible amount of imagination and visual flair. And I don't know, man, it's just such a unique flick. I can't really compare it to much anything. It has influences. It has that weird...
Oh, yeah. We've said a few numbers of things, but not one of them really encapsulates what it is.
Yeah. I can even feel a little bit of that just like dreamlike phantasm feel.
Yeah, I can see that.
In this movie, you know, where it's just like, this doesn't really make sense, but I guess I'll go with it. You know, I think there's a bit of that.
Actually, now that you mention it, Phantasm does have...
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff in that movie that's just like, I don't know what this fucking is. They're not explaining it. Whatever. There's dwarves from Mars or something. I don't know. You got any final thoughts, closing statements about this flick, Steve?
Mandy is a fucking blast for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I love Nic Cage in this movie.
It's awesome.
I love all the choices that are being made. You're right. It probably could have been a little bit quicker. I think Panos Cosmatos is probably not thinking of making blockbuster movies. He's thinking of making movies that when you see them at Sundance or something, you go, what the fuck? So he would probably disagree that it's a little too slow. But as just fans of horror movies and action movies and Nic Cage, I think a little pickup on the pace would make it 10 times more fun, perhaps.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's one of those deals where I'm like, you know, a lot of times we have these little critiques about movies and I'm like, yeah, you could do it, but would it make the movie better? And we're like, yeah, not really.
Yeah. But in this case, it might improve it.
I think that it could.
Yeah.
I do think that it could. I think that if this clocked in, like, I mean, like I said, dude, like an hour and 35 or 40 of this immense fucking acid trip of a movie, that's enough for me personally.
Yeah.
You know, 2 hours is like, okay, it's a little much.
Casting is awesome in this.
Yeah, dude.
Nic Cage is undeniable. Bill Duke from Predator.
Yeah, dude.
Richard Brake is awesome. Linus Roach. Andrea Riceborough does such a great job of playing an otherworldly type of character. You never really get a hold of what she is and why. Like when he's, you know, killed the cult leader, he starts having that sort of fantasy of remembering when he met her in the bar.
Oh, which
and
is
when
so
they
cool.
see each other, it's just this like immediate spark, and they haven't even talked. So there's like an otherworldly character to her, and she plays it so well. I don't know. I have little to complain about with this movie.
Yeah,
I get the time stuff. I guess maybe that people who haven't had experience with hallucinogens might not find it as interesting because they're not familiar with that, and it just seems like it seems like you're being surreal for no reason.
Yeah,
but
that's how I felt at points in this.
Yeah, but I think it does encapsulate those actual feelings pretty well. So for me, man, this is a 9.
Yeah,
go Mandy.
I can back that 100%. It is an extremely fucking unique movie. Like I said, the visuals in this movie are a 20 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you just like looking at things that look sick, or maybe you like getting, pretty fucking twisted, maybe getting leveled out.
Oh, shit.
Get
leveled out and watch this movie? That'd be a fucking trip.
That'd be an intense time, for sure. And it'd probably be pretty amazing.
But yeah, for sure.
It'd be better than watching Mystic Pizza again.
Finally. Yeah. Getting around to it.
Finally.
I did watch Mystic Pizza not long ago.
Yeah? How was it?
It's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I get why people liked it in the 80s.
But I think that if you're okay with watching a movie that is more style than substance, because this definitely is more style than substance, No
the only
deep
substance
storyline.
is revenge.
Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah. I think that if this movie was a bit more succinct and did maybe reel in Panos' desire to make this just a non-stop trip of a movie, I think that if they probably could have got the runtime down to maybe an hour 40, I think that this movie would probably be like a 9.5 for me. I think that as it is, with it feeling, in my opinion, a bit gratuitously slow and drug out, literally. I think that this is probably I'm gonna say like an 8 for me.
All right.
It's one of those ones that I'm not gonna like watch endlessly over and over and over forever. But it's one of those that I think once every couple years I'll bust it out and be like, man, that is a fucking rad
It seems
movie.
like one to turn on at your Halloween party when it's getting late.
And people are like, what the fuck is this? It's Nicolas Cage. So cool, man. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's fun talking about it. And definitely recommend checking this one out.
For sure.
Now, before we announce what we're going to be talking about next time on the show, Steve, we need to tell these people how to give us their money.
You give us your money.
We need your dollar papers.
It is true. Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely.
That's
Got
right.
a few tiers over there. If you select the $5 tier, you can suggest a movie, and we do a random drawing. We'll be doing one in a couple weeks.
That we will. You can drive the car.
Yeah. So far we've covered, I don't know, like 5 or
a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. So
gobs of them.
A lot of our patrons have been choosing what we watch lately.
Yeah. So
and it's been popular. Our Alien episode was very popular.
There you go.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for all the support and stuff. You guys are better than we deserve. And you guys be sure to go over there and drop us some support if you enjoy what we do. Also, if you enjoy what we do, be sure to rate and review on iTunes. I say it all the time. I want more reviews coming in from you guys. Helps us a lot. We talked recently about how we're like on the top 50.
Yeah, it's crazy.
On iTunes for like film and TV.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick.
I was very surprised to see that.
Yeah.
And
I'm not, dude, with a fucking chance.
I mean, yeah, that's honestly, yeah, we do create a good show.
So helping us out with those reviews and stuff really does bring us onto those charts and lists and search engine stuff a lot more. So be sure to rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Now, Steve, what are we going to be talking about next week on the next installment of Dead and Lovely?
We keep covering these Stephen King movies.
We do. And there's a lot of them.
We're not even close to running out.
No.
But this one is a goddamn winner.
Yeah, that's right.
Chapter 1.
Yeah. Just in time. We got It Chapter 2 coming out soon. Yeah. It's apparently a monolith.
Yeah,
of
almost
a movie.
3 hours.
That's a big old movie right there. That's a big old one.
This first one, I think, was up close to 2.5.
I think so.
And it didn't seem to drag too much.
Didn't drag
to
for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to watching it again. I watched it.
It's just a huge book. I mean, it's the thing.
It's gigantic. Yeah, and I'm sure I've not read the book, but I'm sure that it doesn't even cover half of what's in the book. I don't think they're doing the whole like weird turtle stuff.
I hope they do. I don't know how they would after not addressing it all in the first one. But it would be cool.
I hope so. I hope they go totally balls deep and just whacked out of shit. It'd be fun to see. So we'll find out soon enough. We'll be talking about It Part 1 next week. In the meantime, maybe if you guys are like big fans of the OG, we did a review of the It miniseries.
Yeah, we did.
That was a while back.
Yeah, that
a year
was
or so ago, I think. It was when It Part 1 came out.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah. So a couple of years ago.
So you guys be sure and scroll through those back episodes. Give that one a listen. It's a fun episode. So be sure to check that thing out. So you guys have been amazing. You all can get in touch with us on the internet, follow us on the social media and stuff, and continue being amazing. Where can they do that, Steve?
At Dead Lovely Pod on Instagram and Twitter.
You don't say.
We got a Facebook group. Facebook, Dead and Lovely Horror Movie Podcast, blah, blah, blah. We got a Discord. I've posted the Discord link on the Facebook group. Go check that out. We also have an email address.
You don't say.
deadandlovelypod@gmail.com. If you want to email us, tell us whatever you want to tell us. I don't know. We get emails all the time. Most of it is people being really nice and wanting to help out in any way they can. Sometimes it's people being like, hey, you want to swap dick pics? And I'm like, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And it's really fun because I have like the best dick pics.
Yeah.
I got a John Holmes. You want one of them? I got this rare John Holmes.
Wow. It's like baseball cards, but it's like dick pic cards.
Yeah, that's what I assume.
I think that's a pretty good idea.
They keep sending me dicks that are just not impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what about this one?
Well, you guys be sure to stay in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you, get your feedback on the show, suggest us some movies, and we'll give you an address to send us some beers.
Yes,
if you want us to try the beers of your local county. So you guys be sure to stay in touch with us there. Well, anyway, you guys have been absolutely lovely. We have been dead and lovely?
I think so.
I think I phrased that wrong.
We're not alive. That's for sure.
Well, regardless, we've been Uncle Ben.
Hollywood Zoo.
And we are dead and lovely. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Goodbye.
Everybody know. Every rose has its thorns. Yes, it does. Just like every night has its dawn. And that's all I'm gonna sing because of copyright stuff. And I don't want to get sued.
No.
I think Bret Michaels seems like one of the shittier hair metal frontmen of all time.
Yeah. I'd say that's about right. Yeah.
Vince
He's
Neil
way up there.
Seemed like a real piece of shit, too.
Yeah. That Axl Rose. Not known for not being a piece of shit.
Yeah, generally known for being just kind of an asswipe in general. David
Lee
Roth.
I bet being a part of that scene fucking sucked.
You know, without a cell phone and all that time on tour, pretty much all you have time to do is be an asshole 24/7.
Yeah. It would just suck.
That's the thing is like whenever people, talk about those days of rock stardom and how everybody was just doing drugs all day and like banging groupies all the time and stuff like this. It's like, dude, that's because when you're on tour, you have all day, you work for, an hour, when you're on stage, and then the rest of the day, you are just bored.
Yep.
And everybody will give you anything you want. I think anybody would be an asshole under those circumstances. I seriously
Sounds like Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, isn't it?
Yeah.